meant there was just no grip on the racetrack.
Hell,
Remember, this is the hottest team of the summer, and although they stumbled a little bit at Michigan, Alan Gus and his crew chief told me this just means we've got more cars to pass, and we've got the team to do it here on the 9, Dave.
Parker, as the cars make their way down pit road to check their pit road speed, Ross Chastain nearly had his first career Cup Series pole yesterday. But I talked to his crew chief, Phil Surgeon, this morning about the attitude toward his driver, that he may have a few enemies out here on the track today, and would that make any difference? He said that cannot be our concern. It is what it is. We're going to ignore that. We're going to try to get out and leave them behind and win this race. Rick, with 2 wins already, they're pretty safely into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're locked in with those 2 wins, but you think about what these drivers mentioned at the top of our show here, where they said they have the same goal. They all want to win a championship. So anytime you can accumulate more playoff points, that's one thing that the 1, the 5, Denny Hamlin, those guys are all looking for that advantage in the ranking when we go to start the playoffs. And leading the field with some unique views, the Coca-Cola pace car cam as we look back on this front row.
I like Truex's kind of attitude when he talked to Dale Jr., right? He brings up a great point. He's a champ, and he is just a few pit stops away from being a multi-time champ, right? He has dominated some of those championship races that did not go his way. So his point of, I have been in big races before. This is just another one. I do agree. I think that veteran, experience is going to really play here at this very slick 3/4 mile here in Richmond.
That's right, 3/4 mile racetrack, short track racing, and Mark Truex Jr. has said, being a veteran here at this racetrack definitely helps him.
Yeah, so this first stage, 70 laps. So they can easily go 70 laps on fuel. Will people gamble and come to pit road? We'll just have to wait and see. But 70 laps is a long run here at Richmond if it goes green.
Restarts will be important, as well as this initial start of the race. Again, Larson on the inside.
Here we go.
Ross Chastain on the outside. We're short track racing.
On the way at Richmond. Since April.
Chastain throwing it into turn number 1 high, trying to take the lead away as they come off at 2. And that will be lesson learned for a lot of drivers now. That outside line worked on the start.
Yeah, I think you got to be a little careful on that, Rick, because we don't know how hard these guys are driving. You can really hurt your tires early in this run, so you might want to take off a little bit easy. Maybe that's what Kyle Larson did right there.
It's Alex Bowman in the 48, and already on the outside, that's Brad Keselowski working his way up.
Yeah, Wade Byron did a good job on the outside there on that restart. Typically think, like Mark Truex Jr. said, this is going to be a race ran mostly on the bottom of the racetrack. That's everybody's impression. But you can make a little work on that outside groove. Oh, we got a car around. The 8 of Reddick is spun in the middle of 3 and 4.
Oh, Reddick already spun.
Kind of a long slide. Didn't even go all the way around. Just got 90 degrees to the racetrack.
Now, is that a strategy? Because you picked him to win the race. Did you tell him, hey, go out there and spin early?
Listen, I picked him to win the race because when I saw him in the garage area, the first thing he said is, my last 2 wins came in this paint scheme. I'm feeling good about it. That was enough. That was enough. He was my number 1. He also has some good speed in practices. I think he had a little contact there with the 42. Ty Dillon way up the racetrack to avoid spinning himself. Kyle Busch, Justin Haley kind of working.
Already a caution.
They were fast in practice along with Tyler Reddick, but you heard Parker Kligerman talking, in our pre-race, how different the racetrack was early in qualifying. Some drivers were really fast, but did not get good qualifying runs because of that. And Reddick, at the back of the pack already, spins the car. And Steve, if you hurt those tires and has to pit and put tires on right now, that could be a major deficit to him later in this race.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't think it was a whole lot of damage to the race car, probably none. Only lost a handful of positions. It's that set of tires, 9 sets of Goodyear tires in the pits, or 8 in the pits, 1 on the car, 9 sets for the race. You don't want to give those up at a track where tires are so important.
We'll have a restart when we come back to Richmond right after this.
Already a wrap.
Always take the best care of school supplies. So save money shopping back to school on Amazon while they figure their stuff out.
The
Conway's biggest refresh yet.
Competition is incredibly fierce. You're willing to put everything at stake, including your life, to try to win. Everyone's competitors, and you're going to get into it with your friends. You're supposed to be friends. It's easy to say, never miss the birthday of your child until you see someone else driving your car. I want to be the one that's to the show.
I got this mountain bike for only $11.
DealDash.com, the fair and honest bidding site. This KitchenAid mixer sold for less than $26. This iPad sold for less than $43. And this PlayStation 5 sold for less than $1.
I won these Bluetooth headphones for $20.
I got these 3 suitcases for less than $40. And shipping is always...
Go to DealDash.com
Yes,
right
it's
now
because of
and see
Reddit.
how much you
And
can
here's
save.
Hi, this is Lisa from Fort Imprint. Yes, I'd like 50 welcome wows, 300 customer, I love it, and 200 team member. Oh yeah, certainly. You know we got some brand new.
Dial up the wow factor with promotional products from Fort Imprint. We specialize in awesome items that are certain to awe and guaranteed to deliver some ooh yeah. From apparel, backpacks, drinkware to high-tech items.
Wow.
I love it.
Go to ForImprint.com and find some wow now. For Imprint, for certain.
Early spin by Tyler Reddick brought out the first caution, ready for the first restart of the day. And it'll be Ron Chastain, Kyle Larson.
I'll be back on the way.
Chastain shows the
I'll be
inside
back on the way.
and back to racing here at Richmond.
Chastain down into turn one. He will clear
Wait,
the
wait.
car. Larson.
I'm here.
Down to the bottom of the racetrack on the
I'm
inside there, in front of his teammate Byron. And he's going to try this outside, guys, and it's worth taking a
Back
note.
on the way.
Because I think that's how he got passed by Byron on the initial start of the race. He's going to take that spot back.
6 with his brand new paint scheme.
Didn't think the top was going to work.
Looks like Joey handled a little bit.
With this kind of track tip in a long time, I think if it's ever going to work.
Boy, what does it look like to you?
Let's hope so. I love it when this outside groove opens up, gives these guys opportunities to be able to pass each other. Then he up the racetrack again, getting a little clean air on that car, trying to make a run on the 5.
Keselowski has used the
I also
outside
been
line to
acting
move from
for
his starting position of 8th now up to 5th. So he also has been venturing up there in that second group.
I mean, I want Gibbs.
As soon as they
I want Coopers to be
don't
back.
have someone in front of them to challenge Rick, they all go right back to the bottom of the racetrack. And it doesn't seem like anybody could just go up there and literally make time. It's only when you can trap somebody on the inside.
I'm not
It's a little
blaming
early in the run, though. Even historically here, when outside works, it's because
No,
the
he's trying
tires
to make
are worn
most
out.
of
You
me
don't have to
tag
turn
on
the wheel
by
as much.
so
So
it's
even
fun.
when the
It's the
outside's
apron.
been a great
Let's go
race,
Custer.
it's always later on tires.
Cole Custer in that 41, the blue 41, on the outside of the 48 Ally, by Alex Bowman.
They've been side by side for a few laps here as Bowman's trying to get clear. Able to finally do it here down the front straightaway.
Bowman won at Richmond last year.
One in Richmond.
Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. nose to tail on the racetrack. 19 points separated the two of them at the start of this race.
We saw Joey Logano in the back of that shot right there. He started 17th, and he just jumped
And
on
also,
the
not to
outside
mention,
to make this move on Custer.
we're back
Look
to
on the
racing at
outside
Richmond
of
since
Bowman
April
as well.
3rd,
So
right?
good march forward for Joey Logano here. Parker.
April
Since the
1st.
Xfinity race. Ever since
His
the
car is turning better than the cars around him. But take a look at this restart, as you mentioned. There he is. He's restarting on 15. So go down to turn 1 and 2 and go all the way to the outside, putting it 3 wide.
Oh, hey, and Ty Dillon just made contact.
Oh, look, they made contact. Gibson.
All those positions. Really awesome move.
There's 4 wide.
Just passed 2 cars there on the outside, the 41 of Custer and the 48 of Bowman. Now back to the bottom of the racetrack to try to close in on the next competitor, which is his teammate, Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
Steve, when we see a driver like Logano run so aggressively early, are we thinking his strategy is going to be maybe to come to pit road in this first stage and get fresh tires?
I think his strategy, he saw how it bottled up the original start gut in 1 and 2, so he figured he could just jump to the outside.
And also, I don't think I'm going to be making the race reactions at the Glen,
all the way
right?
to the front, but when you start in those mid-teens,
Well,
if those
so
restarts
yeah,
go the
so
other
I
way
guess we'll
5
be at the
spots,
Glen.
back there in the 20s, it can kind of be a black hole. You can fight all day to get out of that. Now it's inside the top 10.
But the good news is,
you can actually have a good feel of what
I'll
his car's
see everybody at
doing. Another guy, you
Daytona,
talk about
right?
moving the top. Here's the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the
Daytona
third
and
lane.
Nascar Super
We saw this
Speedway
in practice.
for
It seems
Legacy's
like it's working pretty
finale.
good for him. He gets such a great run down the front straightaway, being blocked there by the 38. Now he's going to try to get to the outside here and it'll be 3 wide for a moment. Chris Buescher down on the bottom there.
Scott Gilliland in the 38 just to his inside, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the car on the move in 47.5.
He's trying to go up to the top, but Christopher Bell's like...
And also, you probably might be thinking, are we going to be very Ocean Safe? But no, we're going to be at home, unfortunately, because my dad and Baba has to work, okay? Right, Mary?
They're ripping up there also. I mean, yeah. If you're a spotter, you got to be paying attention to this, and you got to be letting your driver know if you're back here mid-pack, what's going on. I understand if you're in the front, you want to jump up to the top right now, but to get by cars, this is clearly an option.
Man, Christopher Bell easily went around the 4 of Harvick right in front of the screen, right in front of this 47 car. Christopher Bell now trying to pass even more cars on the high side, just in front of the 47 car, just in front of Harvick there at the bottom of the screen. 20 is flying.
Able to get by Dillon. Now it's 3 wide for that position as Christopher Bell in the 20 completes the pass.
So he saw what the 47 was doing, got that information either from his spotter just watching, passed about 4 cars, now he goes back to the bottom of the racetrack.
Now watch this battle up top with Truex and Blaney. Let's see what Truex does on the outside. If he goes and searches and finds out that maybe there's grip up there. Right, so right there he sees Blaney and pinched him down a little bit. So right now, that's a cue to Truex. Hey, this outside's not bad. Maybe run up here and try it a little bit.
Barney, what's going on with Ryan Blaney?
3 races to go, Rick, in the regular season, in the battle for that final playoff spot. Ryan Blaney versus Martin Truex Jr. so far. You know, Jeff, Ryan Blaney will admit Richmond not his best racetrack, just 2 career top 10 finishes here. And his problem has been making tires last. The longer runs have always been where the 12 car has fallen off. So I'm curious, you know, normally Richmond is a night race, but with having the race during the days, he's trying to get this Truex, make that problem even worse for Ryan Blaney here at Richmond.
No question, with this track temp up like it is today, it's going to be harder on tires. It's just going to wear the tires out more.
Now that's going to be a dirty one.
If you have trouble with it in good conditions, that will be worse today.
Penske drivers on full attack right now. Martin Truex Jr. Blaney's able to clear him. Here comes Logano. He's going to look high.
Logano's going to get to the outside of this 19 car. That's going to slow the 19 down just a little bit. He can't commit to full throttle when someone's on the outside.
Christopher Bell, look at that. He restarted 19th and already fighting with Jones.
Watch the run. Watch the run, Rick. See the momentum. And not only, you know, you're allowed to go deeper into the corner running the high side. The guy on the bottom has to slow way down, use a lot of brake. But right here, you get to the throttle and just power right by, guys. It's so much fun when your car's working up there. This 20 car is awesome right now.
So you're saying it's a good thing that I've got him in my fantasy lineup?
Yeah, you and me both, buddy.
Hey, the problem is everybody's going to learn it. And when it is grip up there, it's tons of speed. There's no question. A lot of drivers are trying to run high. I don't think you can do it like Truex is trying to do it right here, though. You got to jump way up the racetrack.
He's 11th right now, and the 20 car currently the second fastest lap on the racetrack, and everybody that's running the high side is behind him. They are watching this 20 car, and they're all going up there. Every car that ran the fastest lap the last time by is in the back half of the field running the top of the racetrack.
And Junior, every spotter is talking about Christopher Bell, Ricky Stenhouse. You saw Kyle Busch move up the racetrack, so they're all talking about what the 20 is doing. But Junior, wouldn't it also be a benefit on your tires, right? You're not cutting down to the bottom of the racetrack, taking a tighter radius, kind of letting the car float, go where it wants to go. If the high line works, seems like it would also help out those good years also.
Yeah, I think it does actually save the tire a little bit. Initially, when you go up there, we've talked about this, Steve. Initially, when you're the first car up there, you're the one putting the rubber down. So you are going to wear the first set of tires out.
Sorry guys.
But later in the race, once you do get that groove rubbered in a little bit, it actually does preserve the tires, the brakes, everything about the car.
Yeah, I
it's
mean, we'll be
easier
doing
on
the
the
look
car
what I got
to go
video.
run up there.
But
no,
the
I
bright
agree.
side
It's
is
this first set
we
I'd
have
be
a
worried
super
about.
speedway coming up,
That
right?
fresh, clean asphalt is the reason it has grip, Rick, but it's a little hard on the tires for this first one.
Ross Chastain has the 2.5 lead right now over Kyle Larson here in Richmond.
Yeah, and also we went to the Daytona 500.
That was good. I can't believe I sold my third.
it up here. Yep. Get free Wi-Fi now with streaming all flight long. We use coverage differently with expanded high-speed data across the world. So you're connected here and here. Not yet. Now here you're covered with a year of AAA roadside assistance on us. On the ground, in the air, overseas, T-Mobile has coverage beyond the expected.
Get a dozen shrimp for only $1 with any steak entree. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
If you shop at Walmart, you know that a little can go a long way. And with thousands of new rollbacks, you can make it go way further. So you could spend even less to get even more, to make life even better.
I like the crunch that it has. When I think of this churro shake, I think delectable. It's got a little dip, a little accoutrement. What did you say? Accoutrement. Go. Sonic churro shake. Stick with me. I'm gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn a lot.
Killing me. Nascar on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, a credit card company. Great shots once again brought to us by Geico. From high above this 3/4-mile racetrack, Ross Chastain has a pretty good gap now between himself and Hamlin, who is 2.4 seconds back. Denny Hamlin has taken over the second spot from Kyle Larson. Then it's William Byron, Brad Keselowski, all the top 5. Blaney, Logano, Bowman, Truex Jr., and Custer, the top 10.
All these guys running the bottom of the racetrack here in the top 4 or 5. And one car.
I gotta get back. So we're back here.
Line. See the momentum 18 cars able to create. Kyle Busch moves up on Christopher Buescher. A nice job by the 18. You know, he was one of those drivers that went out early in qualifying. The draw definitely hurt him. Had to start way in the back. I am concerned he'd be stuck there. Now, he hasn't done anything too miraculous, but what he has done is kept his race alive, driving up inside the top 20. He doesn't need magic this first run. Just kind of stay ahead of some competitors and make sure he has a chance to stay on the lead lap as, you know, the one of Chastain in that clean air is definitely closing to the back of the field, Parker.
Right, Steve, that's exactly what Ben Bayshore's crew chief said. Hey,
it's like Kyle Busch is like a little slow.
And thankfully we have Kyle Busch behind the wheel. And remember, Kyle, after that qualifying lap where he knew it might not be the best one, told us right there on the show there that basically, I'm just going to go past all the cars. He had that confidence in this race car, and you're showing it right now as he's gone from back starting around 29th all the way up into what's now 18th place.
Struggling there to get by the 17. He's going to slide up in front of him here and take his line away. And we were talking before we went to break about how great the top was. Well, everybody's starting to migrate down back to the bottom of the racetrack, whether they've worn out their tires running that high line. But a lot of guys are moving away from this high line that the 18 car is still running here is because it's sort of evened out a little bit. It's not really creating as much pace for these guys that we saw just a few laps ago.
Yeah, it's awfully early to go up there. It just seems like it's always better to go there later in the race, later in runs. I wonder if they actually damaged some tires going up there so early and running so hard.
Want to grab a few updates from pit road. Dave.
And race fans remember yesterday when the Xfinity onboard that we had with Kyle Larson showed what a great qualifying save he made for the pole. I asked his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, what about that pole run? Is that indicative of what we're going to see here today? He said, I do not know. We practiced horribly. We adjusted the car to what we thought would be a pole running car, and he got it. But unfortunately, I don't know what we'll have for the race today. One thing I can tell you is we're not going to charge to the front at the beginning. We know Ross Chastain is going to do that, so don't worry if we drop a couple positions early on. Marty?
Dave, it's interesting as the line has started to change here. Martin Truex Jr. has picked up the pace, but the handling, not quite where he wants it on the 19. Listen on the radio.
Not sure what they asked for. Just all over the place. Really, really tight center earlier. Now the entry slide is starting to take over a little with helping the center. It's just real snappy.
The
The Toyota onboard will have the views all day long for Martin Truex Jr. And he said earlier this week, if we need to pull out a win, I want to go to a place where I have a lot of confidence. Richmond is that for me. I asked James Small, does that put too much pressure on the team, Parker? He said, no, we're going to do it today.
Well, Marty, for his teammate Christopher Bell, who's a couple positions behind him, we saw him using that high line early up next to the wall and gaining so many positions. And what's funny about that was talking to his crew chief, Adam Stevens. I asked him, what makes Christopher so good here? Remember, he's won 3 times the Xfinity Series, run up front here in the Cup Series. He said it's actually not his use of different lanes. It's the micro adjustments to his lane he makes when it's on the bottom and you're having to wrap that yellow line. He just finds a way to change his line ever so slightly, get a better run off the corner.
To go in stage 1. Okay.
So when he saw him all the way up top, I thought that was pretty interesting. That's not a micro adjustment. That was a major adjustment. But now back in the bottom, using some of those micro adjustments to hopefully get in the top 10.
And guess what?
Line, making a lot of time up there, but now
there's already 28 to go in stage 1. Yeah, I'm not serious. I'm serious.
He actually was passing before running that higher line. So maybe went up there and abused the tires a little bit. That's starting to show, as he doesn't have the grip here to be able to carry the pace. And it's with 27 to go in this stage. It's a handful.
Good years gone on both our right sides.
Talking about maybe a rubbing was against somebody, but it is really difficult to drive the race cars. You know, how much grip has come out of this race car so far. 2 seconds. It slowed down 2 seconds from their fastest lap. I'm looking at the right rear quarter panel. It looks like there's a little bit of contact maybe with the wall. I don't know when that might have happened. And if that has slowed this car down some way, you see the little bit of scratch right on the 12 o'clock mark of the rear quarter panel.
What about shifting? Will we see that early in a run or now later as the tires are wearing down?
So I actually think the ability to shift exists every lap at the current ratio, but in a short run or a sprint to the finish, you might use 4th gear. We saw it in qualifying, but as we talk about the tires wearing, that 4th gear is going to put more power through the rear tires and damage them more. So I would imagine you're going to stay in 5th gear just to try to save some tire life throughout the course of the run. Yeah, 4th gear, you know, if you can downshift a little bit, it'll make the car drive a little better through the middle. But when you go to the throttle, then it tries to spin the rear tires a little bit more. Watching the telemetry there on the bottom left of the screen, Truex just can't get full throttle till right before the flag stand. And running middle of the racetrack, which we see guys do a lot on, well, there's Carlos outside the way he's running the middle of the racetrack. But we see a lot of guys run the middle of the front straightaway. There's no real data that suggests that it's better on the tires, but some of these drivers will tell you these run groove over the years here at this racetrack that they believe they save a little bit of tire life and drive in the cars running a little bit lower on the front straightaway. These teams even also, Rick, will have, there's infrared cameras, and they can see, like, which area of the racetrack is the warmest. In the corner, you may move up or down, and I wonder, to Dale's point, if that isn't something, you know, we think straightaway, Dale, right, grip is normally an issue when you're going dead straight, but this front stretch of Richmond, first of all, isn't straight, and grip is absolutely an issue on this front stretch.
Dave, you saw Cole Custer take over the 9th position from Martin Truex in that blue Mustang. To Jeff Burton's point, Cole has started using the shifting just to make the handling better. He said, I have to shift to make it turn. He's used that to good effect here, getting the spot for the 41. Rick?
Cole Custer trying to make the move up front. He's running 9th, all chasing Chastain. The NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond. The Federated Auto Parts 400. We'll be right back.
Commercial, man.
Don't wait. Go to safelight.com. You can schedule service in just a few clicks. It's so easy. Customers today are relying on their cars' advanced safety features.
Commercial break, I mean, with 21 to go in stage 1.
That's why our recalibration service is state of the art. We recalibrate your vehicle's camera so you can still count on those safety features. All right, we're all finished. Thank you so much. Thank you. Don't wait. Schedule now.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace. Ace is the only national hardware retailer that carries Benjamin Moore paint at over 4,000 stores. And only Ace offers the extra mile promise. We'll help you get everything you need to paint in one trip, or delivery is free. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Of course not. You know crispy, juicy
Let's go places. The white flag is out. A notice to all drivers that the regular season is coming to an end. That now is the time to fight for the final playoff spot or surrender.
Oh, we're back.
Just 16 to go from Richmond. NASCAR Cup Series racing presented by Toyo. Live Wednesday companion. Get access to high-definition in-car cameras, current position trackers, as well as pit stop data. Visit NASCAR.com/drive. You can download the NASCAR mobile app today. Focusing in on the 18 of Kyle Busch. Yes, there are some stripes on the right side. They're Richmond stripes. He got into the turn 3 wall right here.
Yeah, just keep talking about drivers trying to run the higher groove, entered really high, and these tires are getting older, and the car is not responding the way as you want it to. It just got up in the wall a little bit. Steve, I don't know if there's any damage there that's going to hurt him.
No, I agree. These next-gen cars have been proven to be very, very tough. We have seen like the toe link break or bend, but that was a relatively light contact versus
Four-wheel drift everywhere, no grip.
No grip everywhere. That's what all the drivers are saying, but you're looking at your car relative to the guys you're catching, just no grip. That's hard to adjust on. Maybe take a little air pressure out all the way around, or
And just never comes back.
there you go. It just continues to get feedback with 13 laps to go in this stage.
Kyle Busch running 17th right
I
now
thought
on
you'd go
a
in
career
stage
slide
one.
as far as top 10 finishes. He's gone 8 races and not had a top 10 finish. That's the longest in his career. Parker.
Well, guys, we look at Joe Agano, who's running in 7th right now. About 8 laps ago was lap 50 of this stage, and that's about where you'd be on tires in the next stage if you want to do what could possibly be a 2-stopper. So as the teams look ahead to that, take a listen to Paul Wolf on his radio.
50 laps. Think about the rest of the race. If guys do stop it, that'll be the end of your run. That'll be a 50-lap run.
And that is the key. Get the driver thinking about 50-lap runs if you start doing those 2-stoppers in those next stages, Marty.
Parker, I like that, planting the seed here in stage 1. So, Steve, we started talking about how valuable fresh Goodyear tires are in the pre-race show, right? We saw that in the spring race as well with Denny Hamlin.
Alright, can we just watch the race?
So why not
No.
split up stage 1 as well and try and get fresh tires on and maybe make some progress?
Well, Marty, if it was the full 70 laps, maybe you could pull it off pitting in the middle. Remember, we had that caution that kind of burned up the first 10 laps. But the other big thing is, and we talked about it with Tyler Reddick in his spin, the limited numbers of Goodyear tire sets. 9 for the entire race. So if you use the set here, you think you know how the race is going to go. But, Rick, we get a bunch of yellows in that final stage. You want fresh tires to bolt on every time. So, it's kind of, you got to be careful you don't get so concerned about where you're running in the first stage that you take yourself out of the race in the final stage.
Good vantage point here thanks to Hunt Brothers Pizza, riding along with Kevin Harvick, looking back at that 18 of Kyle Busch and the different lines that those 2 cars are running.
You'll never really see Harvick go to the top of the racetrack. I mean, he will search around, but it takes a lot for him to move around. I'm always surprised by his commitment to run a specific groove and make it work. 20 car right here, Christopher Bell continues to struggle, dropping back, losing positions.
Yeah, Eric Almirola, on the other hand, he qualified 32nd. One of those cars that went out early in qualifying. We watched him in practice, had a really fast car. He's driven all the way up to 14th. He's got good speed today. No surprise after watching yesterday.
And that Christopher Bell thing, Dale, I think you called it, right? That over time, the top maybe takes it a little easier on the tires. But early, the 20 was one of the first cars up there, kind of blazing a path and definitely using up those Goodyear tires on that fresher pavement that haven't seen laps yet this weekend. And I think he's paying the price now.
He falls back just a bit, currently running in the 13th spot. Logano was trying a similar strategy. He ran up high and currently is holding on to a 7th place finish right now, or in 7th position, as Almirola is able to work by the 20 of Bell. Chastain with a 1.1 second lead now, as there are under 6 laps remaining in stage 1. And that gap continues to close And remember who's racing for the top spot right now. Chastain and Hamlin. They have had history all season long.
Watch Chase trying to work around the inside of his 14 car and Chase Briscoe. Chase Elliott on the inside. And number 9. Patient on the throttle. Briscoe's going to race him here on the outside. That right there makes it so difficult for the inside car to really throttle up. And
we got a powerful love between Elliott and Brisky. Chastain's leading.
You do something like that, go way up the racetrack and allow the 9 car to clear, but so frustrating when you get on the inside of a guy here at this track and he runs real tight on your doors. You see contact with Corey LaJoie and the 12 car Blaney as Blaney's battling his teammate. 6th position. Logano trying to take that spot around the outside here, trying to do exactly what he needs to do to keep the 12 car from being able to open up the throttle and get on down the straightaway. Blaney's going to clear him right here, I believe. 22 fighting back. Can you get there?
No.
They're both sitting there about half throttle. Can't really try to
because Harrison Burns flipped.
start spinning.
Chastain now 2 laps to go. And that will close pit road.
No.
And Denny Hamlin has closed the gap as well. Now just 3 car lengths separate the top 2.
And Todd Gilliland right in front of Chastain. He's working hard to stay on the lead lap.
Hamlin wants to win this stage for that all-important
but war between Chastain and Hamlin.
But that's the incentive for the 11 to really push here.
One more time around in stage 1.
I don't know if it's over yet.
Will Chastain have an issue trying to get around Gilliland, and will Hamlin be able to close the gap down the backstretch for the final time in this stage?
But war between Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin
2 car lengths
continues.
separating these 2. Hamlin stays a little bit higher, but out of turn 4, Ross Chastain is going to win. That's his 5th stage win this season.
All right, Ross Chastain wins each one. All Hamlin second at me, all right?
Hamlin, Larson, Keselowski with a 4th place finish in that stage. William Byron, Blaney, Logano, Alex Bowman, Cole Custer, and Martin Truex Jr. all grabbing a few stage points there at the end of stage 1. Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney fighting for every point on the racetrack. A little rough riding for the 18 of Kyle Busch, but another win for Chastain.
Getting the most out of what you got. And you know how to spend a little less to get a little more. To make life a little better.
When do we get to start stabbing people?
I hate that doll.
Let go. Richmond, Nascar, today on USA.
Get up, people, for a new Sunday tradition, because Peacock's bringing together 2 great American inventions, baseball and brunch. An exclusive early bird special at the ballpark, and everyone's invited. So calling all baseball fans and families from LA to Fenway, we got ourselves a game. MLB Sunday Leadoff, exclusively on Peacock.
Get ready for a summer full of lights, camera, and so much action.
Love Island USA, streaming now, only on Peacock.
NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Okay.
And right now we'll go down to Martin.
All right, here we go. Pit stops are underway.
With 6 points in the bank after
This is a quick pit stop.
in that stage, 6 in that stage, I should say. He said, I'm not sure what to tell you to do. All I know is I need just more overall grip. A little bit tight, a little bit loose off the corner as well. Blaney, nice finish in the stage. They got to make the car better, though, Parker.
And Marty, at the top right of your screen, Brad Keselowski
pits from the
Oh,
fourth
Blaney
place
has the
position. Just a little
Kroger
tight
logo
to
on
the
the
center,
back
but
of his
overall very
body on
happy
the
that car.
screen.
Oh, has a little trouble getting around Christopher Bell.
Denny Hamlin was
See,
right in the center, had to put a
Kroger.
lot of wheel to it. That made him
That's
boost off.
strange.
As for Ross Chastain, he said a little afraid
But what
about,
if
but
Kroger
nothing
actually
crazy.
sponsors
Ross
Blaney?
Chastain, the winner of stage one.
You mean my favorite car was
And that house coming
Alright,
off
Chastain
of
was
pit
face
road.
off pit road.
Chastain.
As a Main Street bank, PNC has helped over 7 million kids develop their passion for learning through our Grow Up Great initiative. And now, we're providing billions of dollars for affordable home lending programs as part of $88 billion to support underserved communities, including loans for small businesses in low and moderate income areas. So everyone has a chance to move forward financially. PNC Bank. See how we can make a difference for you.
When you order the new lemon ricotta blueberry protein pancakes with 37 grams of protein, you get a smile on your plate. Only from IHOP. Download the app and join the rewards program today.
Oh, hey. Buying a car from Vroom is so easy. All you need is a phone and a finger. Just go to vroom.com, scroll through thousands of cars, then tap to buy. That's it. No sales speak, no wasted time. Just straight up great cars. Right from your phone to your driveway. Go to vroom.com and pick your favorite. Oh yeah, she digs it. Buy your car on vroom.com. Vroom. Get in.
I get all the pickle I want without having to deal with the pickle jar.
Then figure out how to open it.
How to open the pickle jar. This has totally streamlined the pickle process for me. Sonic Big Dill Cheeseburger.
Just a couple weeks away, the NFL season kicks off Thursday, September 8th on NBC and Peacock with the Bills visiting the Super Bowl champion Rams. Then on Sunday Night Football, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take on the Cowboys. I want to check in with the NBC Toyota on-track car and...
Down here at the front, you can see the car. You see this.
Oh, I'm gonna look at the Toyota
Those
piece.
car, those splitters that were sort of
Look at
straight.
it.
This one is stepped, and you
And
wanted the
look.
car to be right on the racetrack, maybe just a little bit above to create the ultimate
Look at it.
downforce. Now, in this new next-gen car, you might see these cars, their attitude pointed up like a
22.
motorboat, right? The front end up in the air.
Oh, it
Why are
says
they doing
NBC
that?
and
They want to
USA
get
on.
all that air sucked under the race car
Yeah.
and sent back to this rear diffuser, which creates majority
Yeah,
of the
that's a rear
downforce on these
diffuser for the
next-gen
next
cars
gens.
underneath this race car. That's why you're seeing that attitude change for what we've seen in the past.
Wait a minute, wait. No, man, not
The way
ready.
this car makes aerodynamics just totally different from past cars. The teams are kind of figuring out what the sensitivity is, where you
Okay,
want
just
it for
go.
close grip, how do you change it from tight to loose, more front down force or more rear. That diffuser is definitely, so that's not new to racing, right? It was kind of just new to stock cars. When you watch most worldwide
Red
racing,
M&M Kyle
especially
Busch.
in the road courses, diffusers are very, very popular on any smooth underbody car.
The front of the car, very different from a year ago. It used to be seal the front end down as low as you could get it. Now you want to get more air underneath that car.
Yeah, it's just basically just do the exact opposite you've ever done. I mean, no wonder your brain cramps a little bit.
Looking back from Larson's Xfinity onboard camera. And Larson will be starting up there on the front row. Ross Chastain, once again, will restart on the inside. Kyle Larson will restart on his outside as we get a good vantage point from the spoiler here of Austin Dillon's Coca-Cola camp.
This car's just getting caught up. That's why he's going so fast, kind of just catching up to the back of the field.
Ready for the restart. Field approaching the Geico restart zone. Again, Chastain on the inside, Larson on the outside, back to green. And a little wiggle there as Hamlin all over the back bumper of Chastain.
Oh!
Down the racetrack he goes, he caught the
Hamlin
flag.
raced and I think Blaine made a little contact.
That's why I hate one. That's why I hate him.
Hamlin putting a lot of pressure on the one of Chastain on that restart. 3 wide behind him.
Bro, I mean, whenever last year my Coke Zero Sugar 400 reactions at Daytona, when that big one happened with chasing WWE, you were talking about him like
Cole Custer in the 41 on the outside, Chase Elliott in the number 9 in the middle.
Yeah, man, but like,
Saw Brad
yeah, I mean,
Keselowski, the 6, make the pass.
so wait, you fought Hamlin
front,
first,
though,
and
battle
then
for the
going
lead.
to
The
LA.
22
Well, I don't
Logano
think
to the
so.
outside of the 1. Down the front straightaway, he draws alongside, entering turn 1.
We've seen that outside line work most of the first stage, and now Logano pulls up even with Ross Chastain. Down the backstretch they go.
Come on, Chastain, wreck Logano, wreck him.
Seems like early in the run, you can jump to the higher line and make some time.
Logano completes the pass. He's out front here at Richmond.
And how many times have we seen this? The Penske cars show up to Richmond with short run speed. I mean, this has been even before the next gen car, this has been a thing that Penske just always seems to have when we come to Richmond. They can fire off right away on new tires, be quicker than everybody else.
Chastain led 79 laps to start this race. Justin Haley was out front for 1. Now it's Logano. Here comes the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Looking inside his teammate, Mark Truex Jr.
Teammates.
He'll take that spot away.
Right
Yeah, it's almost too balanced in Nashville.
Second place, top of your screen right now. Larson around the outside. Chastain just not going anywhere since they came to pit road.
I wonder if the change was made in the setup of that car. Starts to fall back just a little, Dave.
It's interesting, Rick. Right before the restart, Ross was told by his crew they're not making a lot of time up there on the high line. So I don't see it so much for lap time, except for letting people by. So it may have been to Junior's point at the start of the run. That may be a tool that the others are using, but Chastain was pretty much told it's not a long-term solution.
I agree with that. I just think these guys are faster at the bottom, middle, wherever than this one car right now. They run him down, and the only way to go around him is where he's not. They're moving to the top of the racetrack, but they won struggling a little bit.
William Byron with a little momentum now with the flames down the side of that 24. They've been able to get right. Oh, and we got a little bit of smoke out of Cole Custer.
Oh, Custer's tire smoking.
Yeah, you mentioned the shifting. I don't know if that was a shift gone bad or what it was. That looked like smoke right out the tailpipes, but he continues. Truex loses the spot to the 12 of Blaney.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Can't remember what happened.
And you know that's the guy you're racing for, trying to make these playoffs. They've been together the entire race. Blaney got more points in that first stage. Blaney got 5 points. Truex got 1 point, so advantage Blaney so far.
One continues to drop back here. Then Hamlin's going to go around the outside. Going to try 2 on this corner exit. Should have the throttle and acceleration to make that pass happen.
It almost looks like the one car is tight. Like it's just right there. It just won't rotate the way he wants it to, so he's got more wheel to it than he needs. And then that hurts the rear tires. You're turning the front tires, trying to get it to rotate. You go to the throttle, now you got the front tires turned, and now the rear tires don't hook up.
Hamlin in front of Chastain up to 3rd. And now we're seeing more of a traditional run here at Richmond where they're trying to get those left side tires right on the yellow paint, the apron. Dave.
So Cole Custer radioed his team, I have lost all power steering. That's not a good thing, especially when the answer back was, well, do with it what you can for now. Meanwhile, up front, Ross Chastain radioed his team from the 1 car. He said, I think I've got something going on with the right rear of the 1, which has led most of this race, Rick.
That's concerns for 2 guys.
Yeah.
First is Chastain, but if we go back to the 41, I thought we saw a single puff of smoke, but the more we look at this car, there you go. That smoke isn't coming out of the tailpipes. That smoke's coming out basically the tail of the car. I even think if you look at the wording, it's almost maybe it's not changing colors too much. Maybe the Ford little license plate area is changing colors. So if he's reporting power steering issues, I'm guessing that's power steering fluid that we see smoking on this car right here.
Could it be getting on that right side header or something? Because it looks like predominantly it's coming out the right side.
Well, so we talk about the smooth car. There you go. That's like, I was thinking that was out the pipes, but I think actually what's happening is on those rockers, there's also a couple vents. And I think, to your point, the smoke is kind of under the hood and it vents out in that area. Now, the problem is, with no power steering or losing power steering, it'll be interesting. You know, the old car with the steering box, there's all those half tall tales and half truths about these guys that muscle their way to the finish without power steering. But the way these cars are now with the rack and pinion and the front end setups, I just don't think running all day drivers without power steering is really even an option for these drivers anymore. And the hardest part is going to actually be getting on and off pit road. Turning these things in and out of pit boxes is a real struggle when you have all the tools.
And the other thing, Steve, is, you know, we keep talking about how slow these cars get on older tires. Well, it's very difficult without power steering in today's world to correct the car. When you get loose, to turn the car right. When you get tight, to put enough wheel in it to the left. It just gets really, really difficult. I don't know not only about finishing the race, but then the performance of the car will probably decrease.
Oh, for sure. I agree. Finish is going to be your first goal. The speed is going to be an issue. You just wonder if it's a loose line. Is that why it's smoking and leaking, or is it something terminal that they'll have to go behind the wall to repair?
Blaney now trying to take fourth away from Chastain. Using that inside line as Chastain's dropping another spot now.
Okay.
I'm going to go make a schedule.
For what?
So you mentioned a pass right here between Blaney and Chastain. Well, this was some pretty interesting action right here. This is just a few laps after the restart. 18 of Kyle Busch down in the corner, 45. Remember, that's Ty Gibbs. Kind of
Kyle Busch has got his teammate Ty Gibbs lose.
I don't know if he thought he was going to get a break or thought he could get the 18 and check up. So at the 45, he goes back down to the corner and he, you know, hey, I'm going to give you a little shot here. Hey, man, I felt like I was there. I'm not sure if I'm totally on board with how Ty Gibbs saw that, but I will say the 19-year-old definitely not taking any slack from a 60-time winner in Kyle Busch.
I had Ty Gibbs on the Dale Jr. download this past week, and he said that Kyle Busch had given him some tips about, you know, man, not flipping people off, doing things like that. So I wonder if we'll see any of that going on between the two.
Wait, he got that from Kyle Busch?
Yeah, Kyle Busch, believe it or not, told Ty Gibbs that it was bad manners.
So later today, is he going to say, hey, man, I didn't flip you off. I just hit you with my bumper.
And the best part was when you corrected him and said, wait a second, did you just say he didn't want you to do that? Yeah, that's right. Logano out front here at Richmond. 1 second lead over Larson.
Commercial. Logano's leading. Logano, yep.
This is supersonic Wi-Fi from Xfinity. It's fast. So gaming with your niece has never felt more intense. Hey, what does this button do?
No, don't! Welcome to the fastest internet on the largest gig speed network.
Are you crying, Uncle Ed?
No! A little.
Only from Xfinity. Unbeatable internet made to do anything, so you can do anything.
New sub for the all-new Subway Series menu. New Monster is juicy steak and crispy bacon. But what about the new boss? It looks so good. It makes me hangry.
Sit down there, big guy.
The new Subway Series. What's your pick?
Ed Vance here, and I'm at my favorite place again.
Sorry, did you say your name is Ed Vance? Like advance?
Crazy, right? And it just so happens he knows everything in advance.
Oh, you know the future? Did you know I needed 10W30?
No. I just know everything here in Advance Auto Parts. Like where the 10W30 is.
So you don't know what I'll do next?
Actually, I do. You will be going to the oil aisle.
He's good.
It's Advance.
I spent a lot of time here. He's here a lot.
This is how we advance.
When you order the new lemon ricotta blueberry protein pancakes with 37 grams of protein, you get a smile on your plate. Only from IHOP. Download the app and join the rewards program today.
Make sure to download the official app of NASCAR.
We're back.
Live scoring from
NASCAR Cup Series Racing, presented by Toyota. Into the second stage, and 127 laps to go. Steve, this is where that strategy comes into play, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, when we took the green flag in the second stage, you had to run 152 laps to get to the end of this stage. So it's real simple. You basically run 75, pit once, and put tires on, or you run 50, put a set of tires on, 50 more, and put a set of tires on. The math says using 2 sets of tires is faster. The risk is very simple. If you pit an extra time, you will have 10, 15, or 20 laps, depending on where you're running, a lap down. So that's the risk, right? While you're a lap down, if the caution comes out, it's going to take what is a good strategy. I'm half distracted watching these two on the screen right here because I'm wondering if they're going to continue to hit each other, if they're done for the day. But the risk of that two-stop strategy, Mark, the yellow comes out.
Yes, Steve, and that was the talk of the garage area this morning. And I think talking to crew chiefs this morning, too, there will be more teams willing to do that two-stop strategy and maybe not risk it on one stop. But the interesting point is that Martin Truex Jr., James Small, they were the first on pit road both in stage 2 and in stage 3, and they ran it for 55 laps. You see, completing lap 37 here in stage 2. But Steve, do you think teams might jump a little bit earlier than 55 laps into the stage today, knowing what everybody else did in the spring?
Yeah, I don't expect so. Battle between Truex and Blaney. Do they chase each other on a strategy, or do the crew chiefs say, no, we're going to divide? I'm going to hope I beat you with a timely yellow. You know, those are the points. Like, it's one thing to say, hey, what's best for your car, but also, what are you trying to accomplish today?
This battle right here at the bottom of the screen is awesome.
It is good, isn't it?
I have to imagine that Kyle's like, what is going on? He ran down the 45 using the top, but right before he passed him, Ty Gibbs jumps to the top. Now Kyle's on the bottom trying to make the pass, just cannot get it done.
And normally this would be a brother battle, the 45, Kurt Busch behind the wheel normally, but after his issues...
The temperature is rising in that 18 car race.
Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs are making a
the
little bit
47 right behind him, I bet he's even smiling watching this. I think he's laughing, kind of like, man, this is fun to watch, these two right here side by side. So much has been said about Kyle Busch and hasn't re-signed yet with Joe Gibbs Racing. And, of course, the promise that Ty Gibbs has shown not only in the Xfinity Series, but the few Cup Series races he's been able to run. And now he clears the 18. And, yes, I'm sure the 18 is frustrated. Do you all see the tire tracks off the 18 yeah. All
That's what
Ty Gibbs, Emil, 19 years old.
Really hurting his
He's
tires,
a
having to
teenager.
run that low and pinch the car off.
And I really hope Kurt Busch could come back with Glenn.
Get another run.
Yeah, try to put a run together to be able to get back by the 45.
And here comes Amarola again. This guy is going to be a factor before this race is over. He has marched from the back of the field. People talk about not being able to pass, hard to pass. Eric Amarola's been able to do it.
And a win by Almirola would put him 16th on the playoff standings, right? So, and then, Rick, we're going to have all kinds of math to figure out this week to see what's going to happen at Watkins Glen.
And this is the kind of track that Amarola is really good
Logano,
on. Remember New Hampshire last year?
Logano,
he came out of nowhere
the fucking clown.
just dominated the last portion of that race
to
win it.
Yeah, Emil, mark my words. Logano
is
Richmond.
Best
It's funny how, Eric,
but whenever he's on the
Richmond, New
track,
Hampshire,
I'm like,
just always seem to
his
be
personality is
a little
so
better
good.
than whatever their
Just
year
like Jimmy,
is. Whatever
just
their
like
year
what I
is,
think
those
about Jimmy
tracks
Allen.
kind of rise
His
above.
music isn't too good, but I love his personality.
Right now, in Almirola,
But his new
moved up
song,
into the
his
8th.
Lap
new
40.
single, Down Home,
Emil, there's only 160 laps in stage 2.
Truex Jr. in front of them. Ross Chastain has fallen back to that 5th spot.
Final stage?
Maybe,
Yeah,
plateaued
total is
here as
400.
Truex Jr. on board with the Toyota on-car camera. And looking ahead to the one of Ross Chastain. And now, once again, it's heating up. Here comes the 18, trying to get back by Ty Gibbs.
Oh, shit, I better watch it.
Great little battle
Oh,
here.
no. Gibbs beat
Kyle's
him.
worked real hard to get back to this position. Now on the outside, should take the spot from Ty Gibbs pretty easily with that outside groove. The momentum he'll have down the front straightaway.
I love the boss man, right? When Jumpman's on the hood and Jumpman's in the building, you want to have a good run. And Ty Gibbs is a young driver. He's giving this 45 a great job.
I know,
love
but
that Michael G. It's one thing
Ty
to say
Gibbs
Michael
has
Jordan
parents,
owns the team,
right?
But
continued
Tiger-
appearance at the racetrack, his involvement.
Tiger's is
You
his
hear all
son,
the time
right?
about him talking to his drivers. He was in Nashville. We see him again
Well, no, I
here.
mean, it's
He's
Ti-
young.
It's,
He's young.
you know, his love for
Yeah,
racing.
but
Denny
it's Ti-
Hamlin reports it, right?
Tiger's
He
is
loved
his son,
racing
right?
well before he owned
Everyone's
a
a
team.
son, but he's a
And now
kid.
as a team
He's a
owner,
kid.
he's super involved. I
What
love
the?
Gibbs is a kid.
Are you serious, Emma? How? I don't even know how. Ty Gibbs is only 19 years old. He's going to become 20.
That Kurt Busch has done to get this car where it is. New team, Kurt Busch coming in, a veteran, done such a good job. Without Kurt Busch's presence with his team, this car doesn't run this fast.
Damn.
And again, Kurt Busch out with concussion-like symptoms. Ty Gibbs subbing for him. Coming up on potential pit stops here next.
Alright, commercial. Dude, Ty Gibbs is only. Ty Gibbs is going to become 20.
He'll be 20 this year or next year?
Not sure.
You're packing a giant bag of buttons? Yeah, they're lucky. Oh wow, just saw my car with Carter's.
Yeah, you did.
So you're keeping the buttons until
2002? Ty Gibbs was born 2002.
offer from our network of thousands of dealerships.
Oh yeah, he turned 20 this
We
year.
can pick up the car right from your home.
Yes.
Clearly. You guys pick up buttons too? Cars are more our thing. Car Gurus
That's
is
what
the best offer for your car.
second championship. That was doing a good year. Again, if you Charlotte, if that Charlotte comes close to Thunder race,
Get a dozen
it's
shrimp for
2002.
$1 with any steak on trade only at Applebee's.
The
Tires, I only trust Goodyear.
Rusty!
So I wear Skechers with
Rusty
Goodyear
Wallace.
for incredible traction, durability, and stability. If Goodyear rubber
Alright,
can handle what this piece
I'm getting-
throws at it, just imagine how well
Can't
it'll
come over
perform in
my
your
house. I'm
feet.
getting
Try Skechers with Goodyear.
T-Mobile has 5G here, and we also cover you up here. Yup. Get free Wi-Fi now with streaming all flight long. We do coverage differently with expanded high-speed data across the world. So you're connected here and here, not yet. But down here you're covered with a year of AAA roadside assistance on us, on the ground, in the air, overseas. T-Mobile has coverage beyond the expected.
Ty Gibbs is only 19 years old.
You little crispy, juicy, tender rookie.
He's,
You know the
Ty
pros
Gibbs
of
is
putting
still
the
a kid,
back of the
obviously.
potato to your McDonald's crispy chicken sandwich. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Just under 280 laps to go here at Richmond, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about over the next 280 laps on Wednesday. I'm going to call in my man Pete in the back man on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. Call in at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. We're going to chat. I'm sure a little Richmond. Look ahead to the weekend. The back man. Join us radio style at the Glen.
You guys are talking about radio style at the Glen. That's our next race. Look forward to listening to you on NBC Sports on Sirius XM on Wednesday. Looking ahead, we're riding along with Kevin Harvick and that Hunt Brothers Pizza onboard camera. And just a couple cars,
Okay,
actually
see,
one
why
right
don't we-
now on pit road is a good battle for second is brewing here. Hamlin was trying to get by Larson.
I'm almost about to
Yeah, the
hit
window's
1
open.
hour of
We
a
see
video.
These guys are 3 wide, but there you go. You see to the right side. As
Oh,
we
McDowell's
pass, we
way
have
up
20 on pit
high.
road, now the 22 on pit road. This is going to look almost
Haha,
like
yeah,
a
look,
caution.
that's
We're
what
gonna
you
have so many
get.
guys
Come
pitting,
on,
Marvin.
let Kyle Larson take the lead. Go, Larson, go. Do Logano, boo.
To his crew chief Paul Wolf that he's just lacking the right rear grip and beating it up too much on the throttle, so it'll be 4 tires for him as he stops on Bolt, Marty.
Truex Jr. said the car fired off better that run, but still way too free on exit for him. You see that big wedge adjustment. They actually called
I
it
already
pit
hit,
road
I
the
just
lap
already
before,
hit 1
but he
hour.
couldn't make it to pit road. It was too late of a call, Dave.
Ross Chastain for Goodyear Tires, Sunoco Fuel, tight in the center of that run, loose in and off. Not the car it was to begin the day.
Cars continue to come to pit road. Yeah, Marty.
Yeah, sorry, Rick. You see Kyle Larson on pit road as well. He was told to make the tires last there, get a read on how good the degradation can be on this car. So really no adjustments this time. Remember, Kyle was running in the top 3, Marty.
An impressive run from Ryan Blaney, who lost a couple of spots on that initial start here in stage 2, but then gained them back with the speed in the race car. So the car is still just a little bit too tight in the center, a little bit free off off. We'll see how this head-to-head matchup goes between he and Martin Truex Jr., who pitted a lap ago, Parker.
And Marty, this is crazy, and everyone seems to come down right here to want to be potentially on this two-stop strategy. You see Chase Briscoe there just too tight to the center. The adjustment in the right rear and 4 times for him, as almost everyone is hitting pit road here.
On the pit road now, the 24, which was going backwards. William Byron saying from the initial restart there, this car is just too tight in the center of the corner. The fire off terrible. Big changes here.
All right, it's going to look like a yellow. It came pretty quick. Now the 41's going to come to pit road. That really leaves the 47 of Stenhouse. He's the leader of the race, and he's the only guy that really hasn't pit. Him and Gregson, as now we see Cole Custer pitting. Dave?
And now
Cole Custer's been pit. Stinky Stone's in the lead. Come on.
About 5 positions.
Oh, Gregson's up to second. No, Gregson's up to second.
Power steering issue. So we'll see if there's anything the crew can do for him now as he'll hit his pit box here around the corner. The crew at first will go to change the tires, fill it full of Sunoco fuel. But I don't know at this point, Steve, if you can even reach in and work on this for this driver.
Yeah, no, that's one of the issues. So if you open that hood right there, you're going to see air box, carbon fiber, a whole lot of stuff covering the steering. So it's not as easy to just kind of jumping in there and working on the power steering as we see Truex and Blaney continue to battle. Basically, everyone on the lead lap has pitted with the exception of the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse and the 16 of Noah Gregson. They're going to run long. If they haven't pitted now, that tells me they're going to run probably, I would say, another 20 laps and then pit only once. But it is going to be a long, slippery 20 laps for the 47 of Stenhouse.
And Steve, is that the nerve-wracking time for drivers like Bubba Wallace and Cindric and Gibbs and Byron and Custer, guys who are trapped a lap down right now?
Yeah, so right now the crew chief needs to let the drivers who are a lap down know who has them a lap down. My point is, hey, we are a lap down to the 47, so that's your target. Use these new tires hard enough to unlap yourself, Dave, and then get in front of him and then conserve.
Well, you've got that set of tires maybe saved as well, but what was funny to me wasn't Brian Patty the first one here, the crew chief for Ricky Stenhouse, to go the other way, to do the strategy where you stop twice in the stage, so it seems like Patty has always been all over the strategy here and is now trying the opposite of what everyone's doing.
You're absolutely right, Dave. Brian Patty is basically going to swim upstream. Whichever way everyone's going, he's going the opposite. And when we talk strategy, if everyone's doing it, it's not an advantage, right? If you're looking for an advantage, you have to do something different. That's what the 47 is. You see Logano right behind him on brand new tires. You're going to see how much tires are worth. It will be a non-issue for the 22. He'll drive right by. But remember, this is for the race lead. Yeah. I mean, Stenhouse Jr., he'll run another 15 or so laps, 20 laps. He might lose a half a lap to Logano, but then when he pits and comes out, he's going to have those brand new shoes on that 47, and it will be able to run really fast laps.
Yeah, all the cars that are, on the racetrack with newer tires, about a second faster than the 47 of Stenhouse as Logano goes into the lead. Larson just a few seconds behind this 47 in third.
And Junior, I like this call for the 47 because I think he is the most successful at running the top, which kind of allows him not to really have an issue letting guys go. He just runs his own lane, runs his own lap time. He's not getting bogged down with fresh tires running the bottom. He's not even trying to be there.
Yeah, he's able to continuously run that same lap time, lap after lap. If you're running the bottom, moving over for guys, you're giving up, not only that 1 second to the tires, but you're also giving up 3/10 here, half a second here. All that adds up over the course of a run. So, yeah, if you're going to have your guy out there, you want somebody that can run that high line for sure.
Race leader Logano using the two-stop in the middle of stage 2 strategy, and he's out front. Stenhouse Jr. on a different strategy, running second.
Commercial.
Never be ignored at a dealership again.
Yep. Nice.
Buy your car entirely online on Vroom.com.
When you order the new lemon ricotta blueberry protein pancakes with 37 grams of protein, you get a smile on your plate. Only from IHOP. Download the app and join the rewards program today.
If you shop at Walmart, you on the things you love. You know how to spend a little less to get a little more. To make life a little better.
We're no etiquette experts, but biting into your McDonald's crispy chicken sandwich and ending up with a whole pickle slice dangling from your mouth isn't impolite. It's human.
Can you spot the snake? Ready, set, go!
Come on, Wyatt. If you drop a fly, you're a snake. Oh my god.
No good.
That was a smidge intentional.
There's a snake. It's Wyatt at this moment in my mind. One of you guys is a snake. Will the real snake please stand up?
There is money on the line. This is no joke. We are trying to get this coin.
Snake in the Grass. All new Mondays after Raw on USA.
NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud.
Hey, that's Joey Gase's sponsor. Bill Ford Proud is Joey Gase's sponsor. Did you not realize?
It's NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond. The Federated Auto Parts for Joey Logano out in front. He stopped on
Okay,
lap
Joey
124. Now
Logano.
Larson has moved up to
wait a
second.
minute.
Hamlin
Boo
is third, and
Logano.
Stenhouse Jr., who stopped on lap 73 at the stage break, is back in fourth.
But on the
Blaney
bright
behind
side,
him
there's
in fifth.
160 laps, so I think we'll have caution coming up soon.
Let's go through the field,
That will get
and we'll
Logano
start with
mad.
Parker on this 22.
Right, Rick, and that is your leader, Joey Logano, who I had a
I'm
fun
just thinking,
conversation
I'm
with
just
yesterday
thinking it happened.
about this racetrack. He
Just don't
turned
want
me
it to
halfway through and said,
happen.
I love
just
this
thinking.
place and all of its challenges, of course. I asked him how those challenges stack up in this next-gen car, and he said one of the interesting things compared to the old car is you can just simply be more aggressive from the start of the run. He said it doesn't really pay off if you take it easy early on, is what I've noticed. So I plan to use that aggression to my advantage, and we've seen that on each and every restart, Dave.
4 seconds behind in second place is Kyle Larson, which is really good news because Cliff Daniels didn't know if they'd have a winning race car today. It's still not there yet. What they're working on right here, 1 and 2 have not been as good as turns 3 and 4. Behind him in third place, Denny Hamlin, the owner of 2311 Racing. What's been on his plate this week? Well, just the re-signing of his young driver, Bubba Wallace, and the continued health recovery of his veteran driver, Kurt Busch. How can he do this? Go out and try to win at Richmond? His crew chief, Chris Gabehart, told me that's because we've got this. Denny knows when he comes here, he steps in, we can get into the victory lane. That's why that's not an issue, Marty.
Ryan Blaney is on the move, up to 4, trying to get that spot from Ricky Stenhouse. He should eventually be able to pull off that pass and finally get past the 47. Talked to Jonathan Hassler this morning. We kind of debated, would they match strategy with the 19? Hassler told me, listen, if we feel like we can beat the 19 on speed, we'll match what he does. If not, we might pull something out of the back. But so far, Hassler and Blaney pretty quick up in fourth, Dave.
Marty, Steve talked about how you can't match strategies and try to better your position. Well, this morning, Brian Petty, the crew chief for Stenhouse, told me, I don't think we have any more than a 20th place car. So that's another reason why he was willing to make such a gamble here. He'll lose another spot here to Almirola, Marty.
Welcome to the top 5, Eric Almirola, from 30th to 5th. I'm telling you what, we've talked about surprise winners in 2022. Almirola would certainly fit that bill on a day when everybody talked about Blaney and Truex. It could be Almirola. It reminds me of New Hampshire last year, and I just asked the team, I said, is it right to say this is the best race of the year for the 10 so far? No question. Up in the top 5, might have a shot to win this race. Kevin Harvick off of the win at Michigan, sitting in the 6th position right now. Finished second here in the spring. Rodney Childers told me when we looked at Michigan and Richmond, we honestly thought our best shot to win was Richmond, showing that speed today, trying to get that 6th spot from Stenhouse, Dave.
Ross Chastain has showed he's got a shot to win most everywhere. Looked like it earlier today. Still don't have the car right where they wanted us. Now Chase Elliott moves in. So far since that restart, not bad, but just not the speed that he had earlier. Parker.
And Dave, the car he's trying to hold off there is the 9 car up Chase Elliott. And for 6 weeks in the summer, this was the hottest team in the NASCAR Cup Series until Indy, when they were fast. They were in the top 5, got spun out late. Then they went to Michigan. They struggled for speed for the first time all summer. And then they qualified 23rd yesterday, and Chase Elliott said, we have got to get better. I talked to Alan Gustin about that, and he said, that's a little dramatic. We had a lack of speed at Michigan, but I think today, yesterday's performance in qualifying was simply our qualifying draw, and we've got a better car than that, and right now, running the 7th position, he is showing that. Behind him, a great run for Brad Keselowski and this 6th team at RFK. It's been a struggle this season to find the feel he wants in that race car, but this weekend, from the drop out of the hauler, they have had speed in this 6th car. He's been far more comfortable, and I talked to him just before the race, and he said it's all a process. The process of figuring out this car, working with this team for the first time, and then figuring out what I want in the race car, and that seems to all be adding up here in the top 10, Dave.
Teammates in tandem. Here comes another blue Ford. That is Chris Buescher in the 17, and he's going to make his way into the top 10 once he gets around Stenhouse. He told his crew, those changes you made to the chassis, very good. Car is improved. Buescher moving toward the front. Parker.
Behind him is Chase Briscoe, that 14 car who at the beginning of the season was so strong, winning at Phoenix, being up front at the Bristol Dirt Race, up front at the Coke 600, but just couldn't close the deal. And then as we got in the summer months, things started to cool off for this 14 team. And talking to them, they said, you know, it's really just been mistakes. We've been making far too many mistakes, and therefore we've got to clean them up as we head in the playoffs, or we won't be much of a contender, Marty.
Boy, Parker, Martin Truex Jr. came into this race having won 3 of the last 6 Richmond races and saying this was their shot to be able to advance into the playoffs with a win. But in stage 2, it's gone the wrong way. Before the last stop, Truex told James Small, I hope you have some magic. And this is what he said on the radio once the run got going.
Hey, look, they're off now. Still tight in the center. Okay, see it.
So, Steve, what do you do if you're James Small? You got to put it back together here. They all said this is our chance to advance with a win, but right now, Truex sitting in 13th.
Well, we talk about long green flag runs and what that does for strategy. What it also does is when you have it kind of the handling slipping away or the track position, it feels like quicksand, Rick. You just don't have the time to make the changes, and as expected, here comes the 40. Oh, my goodness!
Oh,
what happened?
Stenhouse missed pit road.
The 19.
He did.
You
A
know,
major error by the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse. He drove
Damn,
over the
Stenhouse
box.
is so stupid.
Now he's going to try to come back onto pit road this next time. But to your point, Rick, I saw some pretty heavy contact with the 19.
Freaking missed pit
Lucky
road.
didn't spin the 19 out. Looks like
He might have flattened
got
that
a
left
flat
rear tire.
You're right, Rick. You're right.
Stenhouse, what did you just do to Truex?
Caught the left rear of the 19, and now the
Oh,
left rear
you,
of the 19 going down
you
for Martin
piece
Truex
of
Jr.
shit, Stenhouse.
This is just how low they
Okay,
run.
that was stupid of him.
You piece of shit, Stenhouse. Mom, I didn't ask you. You piece of shit, Stenhouse. Why did you do that too? Why did you just do that too? Why the hell did you do that to, yeah, why the hell did you do it to Truex, bro?
Just to make sure the drivers were ready for this occasion. Green flag pit stops. Assuming that Ricky
What the hell does I just heard on there?
We'll watch Truex.
And now if you're Brian Patty,
This is
very
ridiculous.
frustrating because you're not sure if this is the right call or the wrong call. But here's a view. The 47 just gets on the apron hot. Can't make the corner on the flat. Goes back on the racetrack and hits the 19.
Yeah, so Steve, you can see right here, he turns down really low, carrying too much speed, and just can't make the corner. Has to be at the inside of that box. This is a difficult pit entry to make. You cannot see that box until you get around to it. We see a lot of times junior people drive in too hard, miss that box, and Stenhouse just trying to get the car slowed down. And on top of that, Ricky's got a penalty for too fast entering pit road.
Pass down, that's what you get.
Everything
Yeah,
went
penalty.
wrong. See how
And
tight
look down
it is?
back and believe.
There's no
I
way
don't
you
like
can see
it.
this
I don't
box
like
until you get right upon it. So it's really, really difficult to get in there with the right amount of speed.
So now all of that talk about strategy and math and staying out and doing all that, you can just throw that away. Because between the issue and the speeding, it basically ended his chances. Marty.
Obviously, no flat left rear for Martin Truex Jr. Here's what he said on the radio a moment ago.
Everything feel like everything out there? Still feels terrible. That's what you mean.
And see, that actually made the team chuckle. You know, when you think you might have a flat tire or a tire going down, for him to say, hey, it's handling terrible, but contact-wise, we are fine. He said that on subsequent radio, but James Small sweating it right now. Truex sitting in 13.
So a couple weeks ago, we heard some really snippy responses between James and Martin. And it kind of took me off guard a little bit. So this week, I spent some time going through more of their radio. That's kind of just the 19's communication. It reminds me a little like Cole Pern. Like, they just have this belief in one another. They poke at each other, and they try to, kind of motivate using that. So what I thought seemed odd in hindsight, with a little more homework, surprisingly, is just the standard, Marty, but it definitely seems odd on the radio.
Yeah, and Steve, I talked to James Small about that this week. He said, hey, that's just the way we communicate. You have to remember, James Small was the engineer when Cole Pearl was a crew chief. That's just the way we roll on the 19 team. Don't take any offense by it. We try to motivate each other through that kind of conversation. Joey Logano up front, 67 to go here in Stage 2 at Richmond.
We love our new neighborhood.
Yeah, great schools, wonderful neighbors.
Our commercial, it's on non-stop.
Maybe too helpful. Well, at least Geico made bundling our home and car insurance easy.
We save so much money.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
This is supersonic Wi-Fi from Xfinity. It's fast. So gaming with your niece has never felt more intense. Hey, what does this button do?
No, don't!
Welcome to the fastest internet on the largest gig speed network.
Are you crying, Uncle Ed?
No! A little.
Only from Xfinity. Unbeatable internet made to do anything, so you can do anything.
Think Dad's searching doggy diet plans for Josie? No, he's switching his choice cashback category to home improvement, so he earns more on a new doggy door. Extra large.
With the Bank of America customized cash rewards card, you just can't stop getting rewarded.
Running the sanctuary absolutely brings me peace. The work is 100% cathartic.
I can't.
For me. You know, I find myself getting tied up in it and being busy, and then it's really nice just to sit, breathe in life, and it's beyond zen.
It all builds up to this at Darlington Raceway. If you're going to kick off the playoffs, why not do
We gotta be
it big?
from Austin
Like
Dillon.
Labor Day weekend big.
That's how you make a move.
Like Southern 500 big. The only thing bigger than the action would be the experience of seeing it live. And that might just be too tough to tame. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
Back. Hold on a minute.
NASCAR fans, don't let anything pass you by. The official app of NASCAR Tracks lets you stay up to date on the latest race and event information from all your favorite tracks. There's NASCAR Tracks in the App Store. You can download for free. Austin Dillon, we ride along with Austin a little further back in the field, 2 laps down, running 28.
The pace Logano has put down is keeping 19th on back a lap down. So he has lapped everyone that is not inside the top 18. And now we have more pit stops take place, Steve.
Let's start the cycle again, Rick. This is Chris Buescher. Better drive off that run. We'll see if they can keep that car balanced and stabilized. Give Chris what he needs to outduel this field. It will include Denny Hamlin, who has a brake shake problem. They're not going to fix that right here, but they're going to give him 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel and send him on his way, Parker.
And Joey Logano will be hitting pit road here as well. The 3-second lead over Kyle Larson. He was just too loose on entry and exit towards the end of that run and was complaining about the dirty air falling other cars. Just couldn't get the car to work there. It'll be 4 times for him, Dave.
Not a bad run for Kyle Larson. He'll give up a top 3 spot right now to bring the whole sitting 5 car to pit road. You see Joey Logano on the bottom of the screen there. He leaves now. Let's see the pit stop for Larson. Will it be smooth? He's got the best pit box, Marty.
Boy, Martin Truex Jr. just saying it's so loose. I'm wrecking. Kind of got sideways into his pit stall there. James Saul going to need to make a big adjustment here. Truex gets out clean, barely around down. Ty Gibbs there. Meanwhile, Ryan Blaney, his car was terrific to run as it went on. A little bit too free for Blaney. Pit Crew had a terrific stop on the last stop. We'll see if the 12 team can deliver once again.
That wave of pit stops happening once again, Parker.
Right, one of those is Chase Elliott, who felt like he had more life in his right rear tire towards the end of that run, and the others around him, you see his 4 tires, and that's a good thing, Dave.
Ross Chastain back on pit road. He'll get 4 and fuel. It turns better in the corner, he said, but now the rear tires are on the track. Air pressure adjustment for that.
It's truly fascinating that in 2 laps, the entire field pitted under green. I mean, it just shows you how much information these teams are looking at. But they all have these predictive software programs. They have the in the spring race, I think there was some argument on which way you should go, could go with these strategies. But it's clear here, everybody sees the same information because from up here in the booth, it looks like a caution flag pit stop. I mean, pit road is slammed. Let's take another look. Ryan Blaney came to pit road right here.
Oh, that's
a little
a
fuel spill right there.
On the back of Blaney.
So if we go back and watch that on the left side, he doesn't believe he was tight before the tire hit the ground. That's the question, right? So we have seen all year long a ton of loose wheels. You have to tighten the wheel in the air for it to get pulled up successfully and get the nut far enough onto the locking mechanism to keep the wheel from coming off. And you see Jonathan Hassler right here giving a hand signal to the tire changer. There was obvious concern from the tire changer, but at this point, I'm not, what's the 12 options? You can either come back in or you can stay and take the risk.
Right now, the 12 has a 43-point advantage over Martin Truex Jr. as they're running, Marty.
So Jonathan Hassler just asked all of his tire changers, Steve, are you sure you got it tight? This is where your trust comes in with your pit crew guys. When you're sitting on the top of the box, Steve, like Jonathan Hassler, right? They think they got them all tight, but Blaney said he thought he might have a loose wheel. They're going to ride it out for now, but obviously that would dramatically change the picture today.
Well, there's 2 issues, right? If you have a wheel come off, not only would it be a huge penalty for the team, but you also, you could get down on the diffuser, you could destroy your race car, you could back it in the wall if it comes at the wrong time. So let's take a look. We're going to go to our NBC Toyota virtual car here and talk about that locking mechanism that they hope is going to be used correctly to keep this tire on. So you put the gun on, you take it off, and the first issue is you hope that the nut doesn't come out of the socket. We have
and
seen
why
that
are you
before.
doing on an
That is how some wheels become loose because the jackman drops it, right? This is everything
it's
you need,
supposed
right?
to be USA because you're streaming on USA, like Michigan.
That little red
like, what are you
locking
doing?
mechanism, it's kind of like a telescoping pole, Rick. When the nut goes over it, it pops up and makes sure the nut doesn't come off. So we're going to spin it forward and we're going to look at this wheel. We're going to position it. This all seemed to go pretty smooth for the 12 car, right? It got hung on there correctly. You didn't have to reposition it, which we're showing right here. It has to happen sometimes. It was really this next step. He's tightening this gun. Pulls the trigger, stops. Now right there, that wheel is not tight. That nut is not over that locking mechanism. You tighten it a little bit further, now it's over the locking mechanism. It can't come off. The concern for the tire changer is no matter how long you're on that wheel nut, if the car is sitting on the ground, it will not tighten up. There's just not enough leverage between that gun and that socket to get that wheel nut over that lock with the car on the ground. So it was a big issue, and now we're seeing another big issue, right? Penalty for the 20 of Christopher Bell, crew member over the wall too soon. So another car that's, unforced error is basically what you call it, right? It's a mistake that is unnecessarily made, and it was, and it's going to hurt the 20.
The 45's on pit road as well. A little smoke coming out the right front.
Oh, yeah, we're going under the hood on this one.
Ty Gibbs. Another thing that's happened while Logano's cycled, the whole field cycled, right? Logano's putting guys a lap down. Byron's one of them. Another guy as well right behind this 22 car trying to keep pace, trying his hardest to keep pace, is Martin Truex Jr. in 15th. He's really not been able to close the gap to the 22, but the 22 as well has not been able to drive away.
On the pan here in the front. That's all I can see. I can't see where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's the 45 radio. They see a bunch of oil. They're going to push it behind the wall. Ty Gibbs was having a terrific day. That spirited battle with Kyle Busch, but they're going to be over here for the 45 team. Martin Truex Jr., by the way, on the racetrack. You see it. Steve right now still down a lap. He needs to pass William Byron right there to be the first car one lap down, but man, the handling just gone away on that 19 car.
Well, I think it's actually pretty good right now. He's able to stay with this 22 in lap time. He's passing Byron for position. So this, to me, is maybe the best the 19's looked all day.
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr., the way he got a lap down, he was only 2 seconds ahead of the 22, and the 22 pitted. And then they had a slow pit stop. They were about at 2.5, 3 seconds slower on pit road. So that interchange right there, there you go. There's the difference. Joey Logano on the lead lap, leading the race. Martin Truex Jr., the first car lap down.
And trying to catch him to unlap himself. So it's Logano out front of Larson by 2.5 seconds here at Richmond.
T-Mobile has 5G here, and we also cover you up here. Yep. Get free Wi-Fi.
Oh, commercial.
Coverage differently with expanded high-speed data across the world. So you're connected here and here. Yeah. But down here, you're covered with a year of AAA roadside assistance on us. On the ground, in the air, or overseas, T-Mobile has covered beyond the expected.
Logano. Boom.
You're watching Nascar Cup Series Racing, presented by Toyota. 39 laps. Joey Logano out front.
39 laps to go in stage 2, I'm here.
Right here in front of this 22 car.
And now 38.
42 Ty Dillon having a great run. Best run of the year for this guy. Running that high line all day long. Ross Chastain as well. The next 2 cars to get lapped. This is important for Truex because I think it's going to be tough for this 22 car to get around these guys because of the different lines they're running. That's going to present an opportunity for Martin to possibly get around this 22.
This has got to be positive, obviously, with Truex not on the lead lap, but he's catching the leader, and they're on the same pit cycle. So same amount of tires, but Martin Truex Jr. running down Joey Logano, trying to get his lap back.
Yeah, they have to feel much better about the race car. Huge adjustments on the pit stop, and the adjustments paying off. As you're pointing out, Dale, this is a real change for this 19 car. Much more impressive off the first 2 runs of this race. So I think Joey is going to catch the 1. He'll have probably no trouble maybe lapping Ross, but that
It looks like we just... Looks like our father just ordered pizza right now.
Hard to get around and clear on the bottom of the racetrack. So that's going to give this 19 car the only opportunity I think he might have. Right now, the last couple laps, not able to draw up close to the 22 Logano. He's still the first car a lap down, but it's a major difference with this many cars still on track. Even if he were to get, caution came out and Truex gets the being the first car lap down, he has to start at the back end of the field.
That's a major difference versus being able to pass him and getting himself back in the lead lap, Marty.
Yours. Well, Jeff, you know what that's like behind the wheel, trying to get by the leader and get back on the lead lap. But Steve, I want to talk about what James Small did on that last stop. And here's Martin Truex Jr. into the stall. That's why he had to look at this wedge adjustment they make, and look at the air pressure. They're big air pressure adjustment for this race team. And Martin told him before the stop, you're going to need some magic. You're going to have to help me out. So that was actually this stop before they made the big wedge adjustment. Massive air pressure adjustment on that stop. Steve, you got to take chances to get the car better. It may take longer off the road, but you got to put your driver in the game. And clearly, they've done that on the 19.
Well, as we continue to see green flag racing, you just don't get as many opportunities to work on it. You have to have a good enough car for Truex to showcase his talent. Now his concern is right behind him. William Byron has found a little something, and he's kind of closed back down on Truex. You see the back of the 19 kind of washing out there a little bit, like maybe the car is fading a little bit.
Yeah, the same.
We have to go like... You guys have to go like this.
Wow, the 22 sort of stalled out here in front of the 19. 5 of Larson running some quicker laps.
Wait a minute.
All top 2 cars.
Hello, yes.
Truex down to pass him to make himself the first car lap down. So he's got a ton of pressure on him right now. Truex does. Hey.
And Jeff, remember how William Byron got where the position that he's in. The last run was so bad, lost all that time, all that track position. That's why he didn't remain on the lead lap. This run, better. They've been trying to tell him to stay in rhythm, just hang with it. And Byron's trying to do that. And as you mentioned, coming back on the 19 of Truex.
I do believe this is one of the toughest races mentally for a driver because it's super slippery. You feel like you're going really slow because you think you should be able to go way harder. And there's this chaos of green flag pit stops and who am I racing? And there's a lot going on for a driver to put quarter mile. You settle in, you get in a rhythm, you're just trying to run great laps. And we heard Denny Hamlin in the pre-race. I loved his answer when they asked him about strategy. He was very clear. My job is to efficiently run the best lap time every lap that this car can run. The rest of it, that's up to
I don't think it's gonna work,
when I'm coming, when I'm not coming, let me know what he needs me to do. Unless there's any special instructions, it's as efficient every lap as possible.
And once again, we see the 19 closing in on that 22 of Logano, trying to unlap himself. He seems to be stuck at that 2-car length distance behind Joey Logano.
Yeah, he sort of gets close and then starts to try to offset his car up the racetrack, but just slightly. He needs to maybe look far ahead there. See that 42 car in front of you way up the racetrack making really good time? That is where I would probably try to send that 19 car next time I can get close enough to this 22. Also, every time you see Truex when he tries to run the very bottom, it just doesn't seem to work as well. Seeing a discussion right here about what happened with the car.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs, he's out of the car now.
Oh, Gibbs is out. Looks like I had an issue.
So ending his day, driving the 45 again, substituting for Kurt Busch out of the 45. Once again, 4 races in a row now.
You talked a lot about what's going on with Logano and Truex and all that. There's a couple cars up in front of them that are just trying to salvage their days by saving enough to lap. And they are loving this racing back here, holding the leader up. This is like 26 to go, a little breathing room. Hold that Logano up for a little bit. We need some help.
Well, you know that Ross Chastain is not going to make it easy for Logano to put him a lap down. Logano doesn't like to get passed by anyone, and so he's going to make it extremely difficult for Truex to get by to get his lap back. Parker.
Right, Rick, and the team has been on the radio telling Joey that 19 car behind him is not for position, that he has 1 lap fresher tires, just to say he's not that much better than you, hopefully, at this point as he keeps getting closer to take his mind off that 19 behind him right now, Marty.
Boy, imagine the frustration for Martin Truex Jr., the lead lap right in front of him, if he can get around Joey Logano, but William Byron breathing down his neck to make him not the free pass car. And Jeff, to add to all of that, he has brake shake in the car. He just said a moment ago on the radio, the brake shake is absolutely killing me. So not handling the way he wants. Also the brake shake issue. So walk us through brake shake. What is that inside the car?
Yeah, so essentially what happens is the rotors get a little warped or there's some buildup on the pads. And as you put the brake pressure with your foot starts bouncing up and down on the pedal. Well, that's uncomfortable. But the problem is it makes the car drive bad. It hurts your braking ability to drive the car in the corner the way you want to. The car doesn't slow down like you want to. It does nothing as well as it should if it's not hopping like that. So that's what Truex is dealing with.
So there's a lot of things to deal with.
That's why this is a veteran-style race normally, right? These guys with all, I mean, look at the leaderboard. Logano, Larson, Hamlin, Harvick, Blaney. Oh, boy.
Oh.
Great shot.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
You saw the onboard
Hey,
there.
I'm going to let this thing roll as far as I can let it roll.
And now the pressure coming from the 99 of Suarez on Truex Jr. Logano still out front.
Hey, fellow truck lovers, it's me, Bob. Today I'm going to show you the easiest way to make your truck better. It's a no-brainer. WeatherTech. Laser measured floor liners that fit perfectly in the front and rear. Underseat storage system keeps your cargo organized. Rolled up truck bed cover protects your cargo bed. Bump step to guard the rear bumper, no drill mud flaps, and of course cup phone for your phone. Boom, better truck. Hope you were paying attention. Now remember, get all your American-made protection at WeatherTech.com.
Verizon Frontline is built for those we all rely on. Built to prioritize first responders. Built for extreme conditions. Built for America's most reliable 5G network. Because when seconds count and lives are on the line, the people we rely on need technology they can rely on. Verizon is the #1 network choice in public safety. Verizon Frontline, the advanced network and technology for first responders.
At USAA, we've been called too exclusive because we were created for officers. But as we've evolved with the military, we've grown to serve all who've honorably served.
USA.
No matter their rank or when they were in. A Marine just out of boot camp or a petty officer from 73. And even his kids and their kids. USAA is made for all who honorably served and their eligible family members. Are we still exclusive? Absolutely. And that's exactly why you should join.
Can I get a big dill cheeseburger?
Roll the cheeseburger.
Adding the pickle fries. Almost done with the dilly ranch.
Order up. Sonic Big Dill Cheeseburger.
Dad, which one's your favorite?
I'm gonna go with Josh.
Yes. I'm sorry, what? I was talking about the types of chicken.
Come on, you know I love all my chickens. He is a really sweet kid, though.
Did you just fist bump?
The white flag is out. A notice to all drivers that the regular season is coming to an end.
White flag here.
That now is the time to fight for the final playoff spot.
I know.
Or surrender.
Keep walking through them here.
Get ready for an all-access pass to the world of NASCAR like you've never seen before. The drama, the pressure, and the danger, all to become a champion. Don't miss the new NASCAR docuseries Race for the Championship. It premieres September 1st on USA.
Yep.
Riding along with Austin Dillon and that Coca-Cola onboard can.
This battle is just fascinating. So the 99 of Daniel Suarez, his green flag pit stop was about 8 laps after these guys. That did move him to 2 laps down. But you can see the little bit fresher tires. He's trying to get to 1 lap down. That is a big difference for the 99. From 2 laps down, there's just not a lot of path back to the lead lap unless you get super lucky. 1 lap down, Rick, you can race with the free pass, wave around. Just a lot of options when you're only 1 down.
And right now, Martin Truex Jr. is holding on to that free pass position as it gets a little bit tight there with Suarez. But 13 laps to go until the end of this stage. And we know that at the end of the stage, a caution comes out. That means a free pass is...
Focus!
22 struggling off the corner.
Really loose there.
Damn it, focus.
Don't drive off right there. I thought he's had a little problem. Like a flat tire or something. He got off turn 4 so slow and low, a lot of wiggles.
Suarez tried to move to the inside to get that 1 lap back. Not able to do it yet.
It's so hard to make this pass on the bottom, Rick. Even if you are the quicker race car.
So So Logano trying to hold off Suarez from giving him that lap back. Marty, what about Ryan Blaney?
Well, Rick, after they were sure they got all the tires tied after that last stop, Blaney made an interesting comment on the radio. He said, I think it took off too good. Listen to the radio just a moment ago after that.
I was just getting worse and worse. I don't know why it falls off so quick compared to earlier. I can't turn as good, and I am just zero drive off. It's just everything worse for some reason.
He's about to get passed for fifth by Eric Almirola. So, Jeff, that's what we talked about with Ryan Blaney. His struggle at this racetrack is trying to make it better on the longer runs. Certainly what they did here. And look at that. Martin Truex Jr. back on the lead lap. Rick, that's going to be a game changer for the 19.
Yeah, big pass for Martin Truex Jr. to able to get by Joey Logano. And, again, points so important between the 12 and the 19. They're separated by 38 points right now as they're running. But a huge move by the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. to unlap himself and get back by Logano.
Yeah, he's back on the lead lap now. That puts Bo Wallace in the free pass back in 15th position. Bubba's been able to get around William Byron, who's faded really quickly here late in this little stage.
Yeah, remember, talking about the 22 starting to fade a little bit also. Parker said earlier that he said that it didn't hurt tires to blast off fast. That's what Joey Logano thought. Well, I think now he's questioning that. Maybe the next time you launch on a green flag run, you don't take off quite as fast. Maybe bring it back just a couple of laps, Parker, without trying to lay down such a good lap time.
Right, Jeff, and I think another part of that was he kept asking for the car to be loosened up in the center at the beginning of this particular run. He said, okay, it's turning better to the center, but I think at this point, he just came on and said, I'm now lacking that drive off. You saw it there where he's a little loose on the exit, maybe turning too well and just got that car a little too loose on this run, Dave.
Kyle Larson in second is being coached. There is no speed in going hard. On these old tires, no speed in pushing it. You're just hitting your marks better than him. That's why you're catching the 22.
Getting the chip on the straightaway there a little bit. Sounded like that to me, didn't it, Steve?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, and if that's the case, he's definitely down at least a gear.
See this battle right here, side by side. They've been going at it for just a little bit. J.J. Yeley right in front of them, got in the wall, entering the corner. Sure got their attention. It's a tough pass right here for Almirola. Look at Blaney. He's just got him pinched down so hard. There's no way
5 laps to go in stage
Almirola
2.
can release the wheel the way he wants to.
Any other race, I think Blaney would have let him go by now, but Blaney needs that point, that stage point that's going to be given away. He doesn't want to lose his position. He doesn't have to. And hopefully, Almirola understands why he's getting raced so hard right here.
5th, 6th, and 7th, which is Blaney, Almirola, and Buescher, haven't won in 2022. We could see another amazing finish and potential win if we get 16 drivers, 16 different drivers that are able to win this season.
Now the 10 is trying to get to the outside. He knows that's the easiest way to make this pass happen is to be able to get on the right rear corner of the 12 of Blaney. Not able to do that. Oh, shit.
Oh!
A little shot there.
I don't blame this guy, okay?
Look at this 5 car there closing in on the 22. Don't think he's going to get there 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Almirola, Blaney's racing for a point. Almirola needs a win. This track position is so important for Almirola if he's going to win this race and move into the playoffs. So this position is very important to both of them.
And as many points as Ryan Blaney has, if he could win here today, that could lock him into the playoffs. But it's going to take a win right now to lock himself in. Otherwise, he's fighting for every point he could possibly get to try to stay ahead of Martin Truex Jr. for that final spot.
Blaney's uber aware about, his position in points. The 10 car, Almirola has no idea what situation Blaney's in. He's just out there racing like, why are you making this so difficult? More contact right there.
And I'm sure Blaney's going to be frustrated. Final lap of stage 2. The distance between Logano and Larson, about 6 car lengths, 7 car lengths. It's growing down the backstretch for the final time in this stage. Logano looking for his 3rd stage win of the year, and he's going to grab it.
And
a
should he have
Logano win stage 2.
Boo. Boo. Logano.
Fight between these two for position.
All right, Blaney gets a point. Woo!
Back there in 4th, guys. Kevin Harvick. Drive through this field just slowly but surely. Looks a little bit like last week in Michigan.
I mean, we talk a lot about the Fords at Michigan. Well,
Michigan
1-1 at Michigan, and they are looking good at Richmond.
Woo!
They have 4 in the top 5, 6 in the top 7. Man, they're stacked in there, Rick.
Logano, Larson, Hamlin, Harvick, and Blaney, the top 5. Almirola, Busher, Elliott, Briscoe, and Kyle Busch, the top 10. Bubba Wallace in the position to get the free pass when the caution came out.
So with Geico, we can easily bundle home and car insurance and save even more? Yeah, home, car, motorcycle, all bundled together. Just like that breakfast pizza. So can I get chorizo? Yeah, metaphorically, yeah. Carnita. Just chicken. Just give me a bunch of chicken. Bacon? Oh, wait, there isn't too much hot sauce, is there? I have a sense of now. I actually like hot sauce. Can I get chips? How about guacamole? I don't really know what we're talking about anymore. Sure.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com. The playoffs. You gotta win your way forward, survive, and advance. Because here, every shot gets you one step closer to the ultimate prize.
I'm your Blaine got playoff coin.
This is the feeling of certainty. The feeling that comes from knowing you're inspiring your customers, uniting your team, recognizing achievements, and expressing heartfelt thank yous with promotional products people use and love from the experts at 4imprint. Your partner in creating special moments and memories by making people smile. Enjoy that feeling of certainty with promotional products at 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain.
Bill Nye here. Welcome to the Disaster Institute. Join me as I take on 6 catastrophes, each one leading to my imminent doom. Chicago PD is on USA. We move when I say we move. Where the characters you miss the most are always on duty. This is what we do. And we do it better than anybody. Chicago PD, Mondays on USA. The next generation of Wi-Fi is here with supercharged speeds faster than a gig.
Alright, we're back.
Unbeatable internet made to do anything so you can do anything. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. You're watching NASCAR Cup Series racing presented by Toyota. Logano wins stage 2. Larson finishing second. Chastain won stage 1. Logano has led 142 laps already. Chastain led 80 laps. And you take a look at the points earned today through the stages. Most points earned.
Damn, Larson and Hamlin.
Both grabbing 17
Didn't
points.
Hamlin got Larson have that much?
Blaney, 11 points as he's fighting for that final spot in the playoffs. And we'll head down to pit road as the cars are heading that direction, Marty.
And because of the lack of points Martin Truex Jr. has gotten today, those 11 points plus what Truex didn't get, Ryan Blaney has doubled his points total over Truex so far in this race. He said, I don't know where the handling and stability of the race car has gone. The speed's gone as well. I just need help with overall grip, Parker.
And Marty, for the 22, Joe Logano on the right side of the screen after leading 143 laps so far in this race, said at the end of that run, that was the hardest. They're trying to get the throttle down. They gave a small adjustment, Dave.
Whenever a driver uses the word plowing, that was Denny Hamlin's comment at the front of the run. The crew chief wants to do something. Kyle Larson, not so much. He knows he gained a lot saving tires. Crew chief told him we're not going to do a lot here. They both got 4 tires.
See the race off pit road.
Oh, come on.
Couple gaining, couple
viewers...
losing. Larson on the gain side.
Sorry, Mom. It's amazing what you can build on AWS. Imagine creating cool stuff that can make ordering tacos a breeze. And let you watch every shot from every player anywhere you want. Learn about and watch your favorite team from the other side of the world. Just imagine what they can do when I'm in charge.
What's Peacock to a Premier League fan? You want me to tell him? It's exclusive live matches and so much more. There's actually a lot more. It's magic. From Harry Kane and Harry Potter. British drama from Stanley
this week's guest in Jeff Burton's Toyota on-track car is impressive in every way. A massive NASCAR fan, she observes the sport from a different perspective than most all of us because Colby Garrison has been blind since birth.
Do you want to come over here and check this thing out? Can I meet you? Yeah. Come on. All right, here we go.
So we're accelerating. The engine is getting much higher. We are on the front stretch.
Do you have a better sense of feel the first time you ever sat in a race car than most people
Oh, that's a. Oh, that I thought that was gonna make me cry for a minute.
For every one of us on this team,
That moment almost made me cry there.
That met Colby, that experienced that, is better for it. She made every one of us smile. Really appreciate it. She was one of the best riders I've ever had, and what was so fascinating is she immediately could feel the things that I thought you had to have years of experience to understand. Great experience for me and everybody involved. Really enjoyed having Colby, and what a special day for all of us.
Riding along with Pace Cam, you're right, Jeff. It was very touching, obviously, and you'll be able to see more.
The camera better be, the iPad better be picking it up.
Colby Garrison, NASCAR on YouTube presentation that premieres this Wednesday, August 17th, as we look back from this Coca-Cola Pace Cam.
Yeah, a little housekeeping.
Can this iPad just stay in a one view like this view?
And because everyone on the lead lap pitted, that allowed them to take away rounds. If you're a Christopher Bell fan, he is back on the lead lap now. Old tires. So this gamble is basically, we need somebody to wreck on this restart, but I love the call, right? We always talk about being, getting crazy. Do something way outside the box. This would be considered pretty far outside the box, but I like the call with a win in the bank.
Does have a win in the bank, and you can gamble here at this short track Richmond. Quite a few are field approaching the Geico restart.
Here we go, back on the way for final stage.
Making up row one.
Kyle Larson, Joey Logano will lead the field back to green at Richmond.
See if Logano can make that high line work.
He's done it on multiple restarts. Not this time, though. See if he drives on the outside of Larson into three. Trying to, but Larson's got too much speed. Oh, they're wrecking behind.
Oh, Kyle Busch! Oh, big crash! Chastain's also involved. Oh!
Jones in the 43. And you see the 20s.
Kyle Busch and Chastain both.
He's thinking, jackpot, back on the lap. Yep.
Just like we planned it.
Yeah. At the expense of their teammate. But yes, he's going to come to pit road, get 4 new shoes. Well, you talk about, how you study for races. Well, in the spring, the yellows we saw were at this point. It was the start of the final stage. Like, everybody was a little amped up, maybe Junior, and, less kind of give and take because this thing could run green. So,
rear's a little scraped up, too, Phil.
Oh, Jones also involved. Oh, no.
Yeah, he's got a broken toe link or some kind of issue with the right front suspension. One car goes down in the corner, and there's contact in the left rear quarter panel 18 of Kyle Busch. Kyle goes around. Here comes the 43 as Ross tries to slow down.
Big one.
Contact with the left rear Ross's car.
Oh, Gregson and Truex also involved. It's the big one.
There, guys. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Man, pretty hard contact into that left rear.
Truex and Gregson are also involved in
He
that.
was hit earlier by the 47 who missed pit road. And right here, it's hard to see in the smoke, but you are right. We'll see if the 19, with so fewer cars on the lead lap, I imagine Truex would come down to pit road, at least check it out. Riding on board, this will be a good look.
See what I mean?
Thanks a lot, you in the 42. Still inside, even with. Back top three. Top three was the 18-year check.
Feel like he got touched by Jones and Gregson.
So the 42's on the inside. At least Ross is Ross believes that the 42 car is down there. Ty Dillon.
We're going to see
so Ross goes into the corner aiming for the middle of the racetrack, and I don't think that Kyle Busch considered they were 3 wide. I don't think Kyle Busch thought that 3 wide was happening. Just a lot of different perspectives.
No, he plugged in
opinions about what was going on in that corner, and they all went down in there.
This is Air Jones.
Contact.
You mentioned Ty Dillon. He's having really good runs today. He's running 11th.
Yeah. He's been running the wall since they dropped the green flag and started this race, making tons of time on that high side. Just one car, Ross Chastain, coming to pit road to get a new left rear tire. A little surprised we didn't see the 19 pit there.
Pretend that
Parker.
this is
Steve, as you pointed out, when a strategy
and
goes
this
right with that
is
staying
our
out there, they now get those 4 tires from Christopher Bell. He was just too tight in the center for most of his run for the 20 car, Dave.
And Ross
So like
Chastain
that.
will take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, get the damage looked over by the team. And by the way, William Byron got the free pass on that particular caution flag.
That'll put 17 on the lead lap
Yeah,
now.
we're still in this thing.
18 leaves its pit stall.
Yeah, I mentioned that Christopher Bell took the wave around to get back in the lead lap. Another driver was just not having a very good day, but Austin Dillon, he took the wave around to go from 2 to 1. So this caution also helps him as we ride on board with Austin Dillon, the Coca-Cola onboard camera. You know, now we talk about how difficult 2 is, and you have to do some crazy stuff. They did it. They got lucky as well. Now at only 1 lap down, I mean, there's a lot of positions to be gained 1 lap down. He's currently 27th. You can get all the way up to 18th at 1 lap down. So,
I was going to say, it's about 10 cars a lap down, so that's a big opportunity for this team, Steve.
I like that piece can fall still Hulk. Huck for sure.
And we'll check in with Marty on Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, let's listen in on the radio what Truex had to say after that contact a moment ago.
1 car, man.
Oh,
Had
he
to lift
sweared.
off it too, because I knew he wasn't leaving me enough
He
room
said
for the
F
3 wide.
fucking
Sure enough, he did. And look what happened in the next corner.
He'll keep doing that to get some serious consequences from something.
So there you go. Talking about Ross Chastain, they did check the damage, Steve. To your question, James Small said left rear looks just fine, so they decided not to pit here and take an extra set of Goodyear tires. So Truex right now sitting in the 11th spot after that fight in stage 2 to get back on the lead lap, just outside the top 10.
and now there's, 17 cars in the lead lap. So now any mistakes later in the race, will cost you more points if you're up front there.
It looked like there was a piece of debris that Martin Truex Jr. either ran over, maybe some rubber, or what is that?
I don't know if it's carbon fiber or what, but it's right before the flag stand, right there.
Yeah, right in front of the end, right before the start finish. Yep, sure
Piece
enough.
of foam, actually.
Oh.
Okay.
Looks more like foam to me, don't it, Steve?
What the?
Yeah, I was thinking
How was that?
brake rotor, but now that you say foam, it looks like foam. I could give you that. Brake rotor, goodness.
That's a big difference.
Well, I mean, I don't know why we would have a piece of brake rotor sitting right there. So we're going to say foam, and we're going to test
Already
it.
we're going back green, I mean, we're already going back green.
Was it a caution?
Yep.
Yep, foam it is.
Okay, we have a second restart wreck since Michigan. Please come back again.
He's far enough up on him now where he was
Please
able
come
to
back
pick
again.
Come on, Briscoe.
coming off the corner and beat him on corner exit.
I want this camera.
Harvick in the 3rd position, also using that
Stop
outside
bouncing.
line.
Okay.
Now Blaney on the outside of the 11 car, trying to take away
Who
4th.
goes
This
out?
outside line
Yeah, I'm sorry.
might be the way to go here late in the race.
Blaine, he already has the playoff point, so he's in the playoff saying we're safe in it, man. We're safe in it.
I mean,
Most
I feel
restarts,
like Blaney's so
I mean,
good.
don't worry, we're safe in the playoff.
Blaney takes a
You're
spot
not
away from
safe.
Hamlin up to 4th.
You're just in the
So it's Logano,
playoff.
Larson, Harvick, Blaney,
You're not
Hamlin.
safe.
Chase Briscoe now on the outside of the
Nobody's
11.
safe.
Denny Hamlin trying his hardest.
Daytona is for
to
most
slow down this
Chicken's
onslaught. Guys just getting right to his quarter panel and nothing he can do but give up the position.
Come on, Briscoe. Briscoe past Hamlin. Now Briscoe's in
Briscoe
5th.
around. The 11th of Denny Hamlin. And so Briscoe.
Oh, here comes Arola.
Spot now.
Here comes
Looks
Arola.
to the inside of the 11. Denny Hamlin seems to be falling back, the 4-time winner here.
He ran the middle of the 3 and 4 to really try to put a stop to all those cars jumping to his outside. Just give him a little bit of room here to work.
Whoa.
He's struggling with the middle of the corner there, just not able to get through the center and get back in the throttle.
Martin Truex Jr. With the 1. Ross Chastain right there on his right rear quarter panel. Dave.
And Richmond Jr. was eyeballing that replay a minute ago. He said, I think Ross was just going for the middle, trying to give the 42 some room. Well, listen to Ross's radio.
I was trying to get out in the middle, give the 42 room.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to 18, whoever else.
There you go. The bigger question here may be, what's the temperature of the driver of the 18?
Oh!
Looked like Christopher got a little bit of the apron there on the exit of turn 4.
Damn you, apron.
And that brings the caution out for the 5th time.
Oh, apron!
Means another restart.
That's an apron.
New tires he just put on. Now what does he do?
I know the apron.
Well, that's really the problem. Does he think he's hurt him
Like
or
if-
not? We'll have to see when we come back.
Another
the
restart.
Yeah, right
Oh,
there.
the freaking
This
apron.
is what I think about J.J. Yeley and Denny Hamlin.
Carvana's had a lot of firsts. 100% online
I don't. And this is why I give Logano.
Move.
I don't dislike Logano. I dislike Logano, the driver, but like he has one of the best personalities.
And these aren't made up numbers.
He's like, give me
It's
out.
what you'll really pay, right down to the penny.
The apron just caused someone to spin out
It
again.
only takes a few seconds and it won't affect your credit score. Finally, a totally different way to finance your ride. Only from Carvana.
I think that's kind of bounced for a little bit.
Welcome to the disaster.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wait about that, but I don't know why.
Join me as I take on 6 catastrophes, each one leading to my imminent
I mean,
doom.
apron caused some spin. Actually, but I don't blame the apron, okay?
The competition
It's not
is
the apron.
you're willing to put everything at stake to try to win.
Oh, you
You're going to get into it with your friends. It's going to happen. I
Oh,
want
no.
to be the one to steal the show.
Usually,
What's up, guys? Paul Swan here from Austin Dillon's Life in the Fast
usually
Lane.
sometimes.
I'm going to give you a tour of our home away from home pit pod. So this is kind of where we congregate, where we hang out during the race. There's pit road right there. There's our pit stall. There's the track. So we like to be right here where we can see everything. We know what's going on. But then when the caution flag drops in, boom, that's our time to shine. And we have a lot of fun doing it. We got a camera that goes over the pit stall that films all our stops, and then they feed directly into this TV so we can watch them. Now we'll go to the gridiron, baby. The pit stall, pit road, this is where all the action happens. When the nose of Austin's car hits that line right there, we can jump off the wall. We're trying not to get hit. We're really
Life
good
in
at
Fast
doing
Lane
that.
with Dylan.
We have a really good day of not getting hit today. And then we pit the race car, get him out fast. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for tuning in.
A fork in the pit strategy road here. Jonathan Hassler calls Ryan Blaney to pit road. Also, Martin Truex Jr. coming down pit road. Blaney gave up the 4th position. Several cars stayed on the racetrack. So, interesting move here, Dave. Denny Hamlin also on pit road.
As is William Byron. Hamlin's car still has that horrible brake shake. So bad it was popping out of his hands. The car was so tight he couldn't hardly turn it. So had to make a big chance here, take his adjustments, go to the back of the line here. Let's see if this works out. William Byron, there he is coming off pit road now.
I like the decision from these drivers. Remember, if I'm Logano or Larson, I'm probably not going to pit from the front 2 positions. But with quickly gaining more cars in the lead lap, up to 18 now, I like the idea of pitting here, getting a little bit fresher tires, because now, depending on the restart or more yellows, you just kind of have a few more opportunities to choose in front of you. You could maybe do it on 1 stop, maybe you could do it on 2 stops. So those fresher tires just kind of open the playbook a little bit.
All right, Steve, let's take a look at the keys to victory brought to you by Ruop Mortgage.
Well, it starts with mistakes. We've seen mistakes on green flag pit stops. The driver can't make them. The crews can't make them. And guys, no matter what,
we just hit 2 hours.
You gotta help me with the traffic, Dale Jr. You have to get through that lap traffic.
Yeah, traffic's going to be real important. Also, what lane you choose, where are you going to go, right? If you got these new tires, maybe go to the top. So you can drive around 2 or 3 lanes on that outside of turn 1 and 2 on these restarts.
I ain't gonna do that and have tire management. It's hard to do both, because it's hard to be aggressive and keep the tires underneath you, but with a long run coming, you're gonna have to be able to take it easy on those rear tires.
Jeff, you're a professional. I don't know the answer. I'm not a driver, but
But you just have to do it.
you just got to do it.
Just gotta figure it
Just
out.
figure it out.
You can do it. We believe in you.
It's an interesting situation. Well, we had 153 green flag laps in the second stage. Everyone pitted basically together in a big chunk, twice under green. As we ride around right here, 145 to go.
What a beautiful view, too, by the way. So look at the crowd here at Richmond. Aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. The parking lot absolutely packed. And the grandstands full of smiles right now. Very good short track racing here at Richmond.
Watching the choose for this particular restart, the 22 takes the bottom of the racetrack. Larson in the outside line. The 4 of Harvick was in 3rd. He chose the outside as well in that second line, second group. Chase Briscoe will restart 3rd in row 2. We got some interesting names here in this top 10. The Roush boys came to play. Eric Almirola. Ross Chastain back in 9th.
Back up to speed.
Back it away.
And back underway. Kicking out quickly. The 4 of Kevin Harvick.
I don't want any more cautions, please.
Busch on the high side.
Yeah, those guys with the new tires.
I don't want any more cautions.
Jump to the outside, trying to take advantage of it down the back straightaway. Battle for the lead up there. Chase Briscoe come out of nowhere. A little contact.
Up the racetrack. Chase Briscoe wins. Slid up into the 5 of Larson.
No.
Harvick was trying to take advantage of it. He falls back into the 4th spot. And again, leaning on that 5 is the 14 of Chase Briscoe.
I'm just praying that we don't wreck.
Same. Briscoe.
I don't want to wreck.
The Harvick.
We already had cautions like. We already had cautions like.
Blaney and Truex Jr.
We had cautions like red spinning, the big one, and bell spinning.
Yeah, the 19 of Truex in the back of that 6 car of Keselowski.
No, guys, it was also from Truex.
I know, it was a 5-car wreck. Okay, yeah, that might be a good one. I don't know.
Gatto's pulled out on everybody. Good lead right here. Choosing the bottom worked well for him.
Roller has been disappointing this year and last year. And 2020 was disappointing for Custer. They're all bad years except for 2020.
3 wide right here. Chase
He's
Elliott,
been getting
Denny
worse
Hamlin,
and
the
worse
18.
every single season.
Kyle Busch made that
What will
restart
make you
work
say
really
that?
well for a few corners on the top of the racetrack, but now he's starting to struggle a little bit as these guys trying to take those positions back from the 18.
Yeah.
And then now he's having his worst
Then he
season.
drove into this 3 wide position off the turn.
Oh, yo. Oh, no. No.
The first car in the running order who pitted under the last yellow, so the freshest tires of the group.
Garbage.
Garbage is upstairs.
Not a lot, just 4 or 5 laps, but at this place, it all adds up.
Hamlin able to get in front of the 9 of Chase Elliott. Now we'll try to get by Eric Almirola.
Good pizza, huh?
As they stay side by side behind him, Ryan Blaney trying to get by Bubba Wallace, but Wallace
Alright, you just hit 2
making
hours.
the move to the inside.
7 minutes ago.
I'm still already in 2 hours.
I know.
Blaney just moved.
Oh, Blaney shoved
out of the way.
Kyle
getting in the corner.
Busch out the track. Blaney shoved Kyle.
Kyle's getting pushed around today. You have to imagine at some point.
Down.
Oh, God.
Down.
I don't blame Blaine for. I don't blame Blaine for They just.
That was Blaine's fault.
That- I don't blame my misskip for that. He made a little contact.
Yeah, it was his fault. But I don't dislike him. I think that
Yeah, a little bit of contact.
he made contact.
And he hits him
Kyle.
back straightaway right there.
Kyle,
Waiting
no.
out quite clear.
Kyle, no.
Just got in
Listen,
front
I'll
of the
blame
18,
Kyle
and
Busch
the
for
18
being.
showed his displeasure.
Listen,
Got back into the bumper, but
No,
not
okay.
enough.
I
Not as
still like
quick
Kyle
right
Busch
now as
for
Blaney
You always
is.
say that every single time.
It should be
I
short
like
track at the end of the regular season. I
Keep
kind of
it
like it
quiet.
all out of 23 weeks of frustration.
Bubba Wallace right there, guys. Coming off a second place finish last week, a real shot to win. We're starting to see this 23 car in the top 10 about every week. Keeps knocking on the door, trying to get that win on somewhere other than Daytona, Talladega. Team continuing to improve. See Harvick getting by his teammate. Briscoe.
Briscoe ran right up against the back bumper of Harvick.
You
Wait,
asked
what the
Harvick a
hell?
great
Chris
question
Buescher is
at the
fifth.
start of the show, Jeff, about
Yeah,
this
did his
4 car.
favorite.
Could they develop into a championship team, much
Did
like
his
they did
favorite in the
last
top
year?
10.
Harvick said he hoped so. I didn't know if they could do it, man, but this is 2 weeks in a row that they've had top 5, top 3 speed. Just getting better and better as the race goes on. We don't see many teams really improve their car throughout the race. But
Yeah,
Rodney
dude, I don't
Childers, these
care.
guys will figure something out here lately.
No, do it now.
It's the grinding off of the
Do it now.
side
What if
shoe
I'm here?
and then putting a little grease on it. Maybe
Do
that's
it. What if?
it was.
What if did it just?
On the bottom of the shoe.
What if the leaderboard changes?
400 laps, you get a
What
re-grease
if
the
it's
shoe
supposed to be
like
in a
that?
different spot? So I'm
I'm
doing
gonna tell you
it
who
now.
greased
Do
his
it.
shoes
You
is
do
Chris Buescher. That 17 car. You said.
Make it real quick.
Speedway,
Make it,
Keselowski guys came to play.
No,
Chris
give it to me.
Buescher,
Give it to
4th
me.
place.
Keep it.
Guy has been really good this year. Keselowski publicly is talking about how good he is, how good of a job he is, and once again this weekend showing it.
Yeah, Brad said we just need to make sure to get great cars for Chris Buescher from this organization, and that's what they've been working on. And week in and week out, Chris Buescher continues to get better.
Harvick back here.
Well, I'm recording a I'm recording the race.
Slowly rolling around the bottom of this racetrack.
I'm recording.
Doing it now to the top. The 5 goes to the bottom. He goes where he's not. Get a little clean air under this car. Back to that car. Back to the rear of the car for downforce. Heard a shift
For
right
sure.
there. Oh, yeah.
Your guys in 4th.
Harvick to the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, your favorite 7.
Drifting up the racetrack.
Your favorite 17.
Yes.
Move, I can.
Once again by Harvick.
Yeah, each end of the racetrack. So we asked him, or you asked Rick if he's shifting. I expected to see a lot of,
He did it. Do you like our haircuts?
Now, last run of the race, it's time to go.
Yes.
These guys are
I'm gonna get it like that too.
Yeah, Baba got a haircut too.
Oh my God.
Didn't have the room before. He's got it back now. As he's
No.
all these guys.
No, it's for the one tower.
More short run speed built into that 22 Junior.
Yeah, I mean,
Recording
Richmond.
Richmond.
As a whole, I think it's been really good at short run speed at Richmond.
I know.
For years.
I should had to call you for a second, okay?
Well figured out as he tailed off there a little bit at the end of the last stage, but great battle here.
Oh.
To the field right here, we're watching it.
Just a tenth of a second separating the 5 and the 4.
I told you not to
Larson
talk
holding
about
on
that.
to second. Harvick in third.
Nothing.
Busher,
It
Briscoe
just fell.
top 5, and Logano leading here in the third stage from Richmond.
Alright, let's put this over here.
You see me?
Yep, see you.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
What I'm doing?
making a pizza with the dough.
We already ate pizza, right, Mary?
Yeah, we already ate pizza. We got, Baba got us some Danny's pizza.
Oh yeah? When? Today?
Yeah, today. Yeah,
You
right
mean
now.
delicious pizza?
Oh, look at that. Oh my guys, she's a lovely girl. I feel like she's my daughter. If I had a daughter, I will choose her. I swear, you know?
Hi. We'll see you later, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it's her parents.
Virtual wallet with low cash mode from PNC Bank. One way we're making a difference.
I think you're gonna get one of those.
I didn't like what you talked about.
I'm going to beat the. Stop.
Oh no.
Only for Maya. Download the app and join the rewards program today.
Take a look at the driver update. Hamlin running 5th. Junior fighting for that final spot. Playoffs for 10th. Wallace in 11th. Bell 12th. Kyle Busch 4th for 13th. And you can throw a blanket over 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. These guys are fighting for every inch on the racetrack. Bell up almost into the 23.
Stop. I need to get it back. I don't care about your stuff.
That racetrack just a little bit of damage, trying to fill that hole. Larson lost a few positions, and he continues to struggle right now. Losing more spots to his teammate Chase Elliott in the 10 of Eric Almirola. Now,
Oh crap. Alright,
12
guys.
of Blaney is trying to pass the 5 Larson as well.
We just saw Briscoe go by the 11 of Hamlin. Ford having a good showing up front with Logano, Harvick, Busher. Now Briscoe has dropped back, fighting still with Hamlin, but top 4 positions held by Ford, and Denny trying to ruin that party.
Man, Nascars are using every inch of this racetrack. I would have not guessed that was going to be what we saw today. But I love it, man. It's great to see these cars. I know people love seeing night races here, but typically the track just won't get that wide when the temperatures are really cool on the track surface like they will during the daytime.
And this is the warmest day we've had here probably since, the last 5 years, to get enough track temp to get this track where it's so slick that it is advantageous to start moving around.
Marshall is struggling here, losing more spots now to the 20th Christopher Bell. Thought he was in real position to pull off a win here, but man, that opportunity and hope is fading with every position he loses.
Bell up into the 9th spot now.
Larson just moving around a little bit. Car's wiggling like it's not underneath him.
Martin Truex Jr. trying to take 10th away from Kyle. Kyle got back to the hotel here in Richmond at 3:30 a.m. He was running the Knoxville Nationals in Iowa yesterday, finished 6th. And that now he has fallen back to the 11th position as Truex was able to get by him.
Two Toyotas right on his heels here. 18 of Kyle Busch off the top. You hear the radio communication to Larson. 15 more laps. Just try to make the best of 15 more. I'll bring you to pit road. We'll fix this thing.
So basically 15 more laps because much like we saw in the second stage, these guys are probably going to pit twice, or at least most of them will. So you would pit around lap 300 and once again around lap 350. The question for me is Denny Hamlin in this 11 car who just pitted under the last yellow, is he going to jump onto that strategy, or is he going to flip the script and only pit one time? Maybe he's going to run out to like lap 325 and try to split it up in half. It'll be interesting to see. In the last stage, Rick, it was everybody on the same thing except for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and it all happened right away within a lap of one another.
And Steve, you explained it to us in the Countdown to Green show that Denny Hamlin used a two-stop strategy for him to be able to win the race earlier in the year.
He did, but he only passed William Byron with like 5 laps to go. So it was anything but clear-cut, but obviously everybody believes in it, Junior, because last stage they both stopped twice.
One thing's happening up front here. This 4-car, Kevin Harvick, is running down the leader. We wondered about Logano, whether he had that long-run speed. He fired off quickly. Looks like he's struggling again on this long run. Harvick moving around, finding some pace,
Logano's
some
in
speed,
the lead.
getting closer and closer to the back of that shell
Here
pinfall
we go.
Ford.
Well, Jeff, when you went down and had your mayor's talk with the 4, he had just snapped that 65 winless race streak, and could he go back to back?
Kevin Harvick said it last week. Anybody that counted them out didn't know him very well, and that's it. And he does have some confidence. You can say whatever you want, Junior. You and I have both been on those long winless streaks, and it gets in your head. It's hard to overcome it. So you take a guy like Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childers, that whole team, and you start showing them some speed, and they become really dangerous and get some confidence back.
That's a little bit better last 2 laps for Logano, able to run 80s to Harvick's 80s as well. Everybody sort of running about 80s or 90s right here in the top 5, top 10.
Want to take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap, Kevin Harvick's last lap.
Kevin Harvick joined us on NASCAR America Motor Mouths this week on Wednesday, and he chatted with us for like 20 or 25 minutes about everything, about the new car, the win, everything he kind of was leading into that weekend. He thought they were really good at Pocono. He wasn't surprised.
Huggy, get over here. Huggy.
How fast the car was out front, and it's just his mindset is as happy as we've seen Happy Harvick in quite some time. And
I'm gonna play Poppy playtime. You stop.
You don't want this for. They believe in themselves, but you don't want to give them any more reason, right? You don't want to put gas on that fire, right? So it's without a doubt.
Like you.
What's the snacks, Huggy?
Dangerous proposition before out of nowhere. All of a sudden,
Ow! Huggy.
That's it. Huggy, do it.
Richmond, so he knows how to get to the front, stay up there, and capture that checker flag.
As I get near the air, my entry goes away, gets quite a bit freer. Harvick, very old school Richmond. Gets to the bottom fairly quick into one. Super tight to the yellow line in 3 and 4, longer than you.
That was Logano's radio we were listening into there.
So Logano was talking about what his car does when he gets in dirty air. Well, that also means that's probably what Harvick's car does. So when his spotter, Coleman Presley, said, hey, this is what the 4 is doing. This is the line that he's running. That was the cue to Joey Logano where to go.
Augie, attack him!
No, no.
Augie, attack him!
No.
The 12 of Ryan Blaney, maybe a little bit early on your strategy, but this is okay coming this early. Party?
Holy rat!
Yeah, I think this was Jonathan Hassler's plan. They felt like the car not going very well for Ryan Blaney. So the party they had to wait on the left side. That's going to cost them some time. So, Steve, do you jump first here? Is that the move for Hassler? Fresh tires sooner than everybody else?
It's the only advantage you can find, Marty. I think new tires are a big advantage. Just come early, force other people, and this has done it, right? The 5 of Kyle Larson has now countered. He's now come to pit road the same time. Dave.
Oh, and he needed to come on the early side of this because this car was terrible. Just went way loose. Kyle complained. Now you see Peter Logano is on pit road as well.
Give me Augie. Give me Augie.
Huggies of a pizza box. Oh, then Hamlet. Oh, man, look who's the second. Briscoe.
Yeah!
Those two had it. Like what happened at the last year.
A lot of teams talking about that. You saw the 22 losing the handling the rear, just getting free and clear. That's been his problem throughout the long run, Dave.
Chris Butcher running a strong third. Says they just need a little more lateral grip. They tried to give that to him on this pit stop.
Oh, man, super close for the 14. You see the fire in the rocker panel. That's what I was looking at, was the fire. Now you see it. It'll, I'm sure, blow itself out. The Jackman, though, is a little concerned on what to do here, Parker.
As we look at that fire, that might be a little, that's been interesting there. But one of the things about that 14 car coming to life is we get a replay here. He's going to get close to Ty Dillon, has to lock up that right front, and then gets into his stall. We've been seeing the speed out of him as we get in this late stage. That cloud cover coming over, shifting, that's really come to life for him, Dave.
How much ground could William Byron make up here at the end? Got his lead, got his lap back. Last run was good, trying to keep that 24 moving in the right direction. And the one is on pit road of Ross Chastain, the day that began so well. Qualified second, almost had his first career pole. The car has not been as it was earlier in the race. They'll try to make one last change here. Has some damage back there. It hasn't damaged the left rear tire, but it may have affected the handling of this race car. You see the wedge wrench going in the window.
We're here in the 42. And a violation on his pit stop. That's unfortunate for Ty Dillon having such a good run.
Today and the whole week.
So go back out on the racetrack.
Something tells me, Rick, this 11 car is going to try to do the exact opposite of what worked in the spring. In the spring, it was 2 pit stops, and now I believe he's going to try to do this final stage on 1 pit stop.
Steve, let me ask you this. If your car was not good, if your car was indeed terrible, which is what Denny Hamlin said at the start of the run, would that be the play that you would make?
Well, I would have to try something different for sure, right? As we see the 23 above Wallace come to pit road a little bit on the later side. There's also that opportunity. They may just not think they're inside their window yet. They might have a specific plan, but the longer he runs, just seems to me that, remember, he pitted under that yellow. He had the freshest tires of the leaders, and I just have to ask myself, I mean, if he doesn't come in the next 4 or 5 laps, it tells me he's committed. He's going to go another 25 or 30 laps and only pit once.
199 laps to go, and Denny Hamlin out in front on the same strategy as Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr. currently. Logano and Harvick, they've already been to pit road and back off, but they are the only 5 right now that are on the lead lap.
And why this makes everybody nervous is look on the pylon, right? Denny Hamlin, other than Logano, Harvick, and Buescher, everyone else is down a lap to Denny. So they're warning, these crew chiefs are telling their drivers, hey, the 11's staying out. He's on this strategy. So if you're Elliott, Almirola, Briscoe, Elliott right behind him, hey, I know I'm telling you to manage your tires a little bit, but let's unlap ourselves as quick as we can. Don't be afraid to push for a few laps and get ourselves a little more in the comfort zone. You see on the left, tire life, right?
Coming this time, Lambert.
Oh, there you go. I heard coming this time. I don't know if that was the 11 or if he was talking about another car around him.
No, it's the 11, Steve. They're going to bring him to pit road this time. So what does that do for the math going forward? And understand, Denny has 1 less set of fresh sticker tires than everybody else. So come to pit road this time, put on the last of 2.
All 3 Gibbs cars come, the 11, the 20, the 19. So everybody is going to stop twice. Just these guys are going to break it up mathematically exactly what's best for their car, Marty.
I think if you're James Small or Martin Truex Jr., Steve, this was really
Okay.
your key play. Try and run long, maybe hope for a caution. We'll see what these fresh Goodyear tires can do for Martin Truex Jr. All the Gibbs cars on pit road, Parker.
And one of those is Christopher Bell, who we saw spin out earlier, then came on the radio and said it's tight in the center and snappy loose on exit, Dave.
Logano.
And away goes Denny Hamlin now. He's got that last set of sticker tires on the 11 for the day.
Hamlin back out onto the racetrack, and we know that everyone will come one more time before the checkered flag flies. Logano out in front once again.
Nascar non-stop.
Technology is a struggle.
Turn off the light!
Oh, that's what Denny Hamlin.
Oh, I shouldn't have clicked on that. Since Toyota gave fans the opportunity, I came up with the solution to all his problems. Oh yeah, I can take care of this. Maybe I should have read some reviews on Denny first.
What will you design? Enter for a chance to win at sponsorfire.com.
Love your work, Denny. This
Good
is
job,
Supersonic
Danny.
Wi-Fi from Xfinity. It's fast.
Oh, Briscoe's like a little bit smoking.
Has never felt more intense. Hey, what does this button do?
No, don't!
Welcome to the fastest internet on the largest gig speed network.
Are you crying, Uncle Ed?
No! A little.
Only from Xfinity. Unbeatable internet made to do anything, so you can do anything.
So, it's Friday night dinner. All of a sudden, boom, boom. The kid's like, Dad, what is that? And you, Gecko, go, roar! Huh?
It's a bit too aggressive, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, sure, rewind it. How about this? Beg your pardon, but bundling your home and car insurance could save you hundreds. And then the neighbors are like, giant gecko? Huh? Who? The little girl's like, hi, Gecko.
Well, quite the commercial.
Yeah, I know, right?
See how much you could save by bundling with Geico.
Well, Nascar non-stop.
There's a buzz in the air in Kansas. Maybe it's the roar of the fans or the anticipation of the playoffs as drivers fight to move on to the next round and keep their championship hopes alive in the Cup Series and the Camping World Truck Series. Maybe it's the pulse of the heartland or grills sizzling in the campgrounds. Whatever it is, it will be a memorable weekend showcasing 4 races. NASCAR playoffs weekend at Kansas Speedway.
I am NASCAR at Kansas. I'll be back.
Wait, Kansas next race?
No! September 11th! Idiot!
Oh, yeah, no.
Right here at Richmond.
Bro, you not take a look at the schedule? Kansas is on the September 11th race instead of Richmond because right now we're racing at Richmond. Forgot?
Oh, wait, this is the second Richmond race.
Denny Hamlin. We saw the fire under the 14 of Chase Briscoe, Steve. Think maybe some
Fire!
there that just caught
Oh yeah, I
fire.
saw.
I'm not exactly sure.
Look at that.
All the way up into
Look
the
at
side
that.
window, right? So it's a
Oh,
major
oh,
fire
that look.
inside that rocker
Does that
box.
look like for Indy
We had
Road
saw
or
this in
like Cole
Indianapolis,
Custer's? Wait, yeah,
with
that does.
some contact
What am I
and
thinking? That
the
doesn't look like
exhaust
Cole
pipe in.
Custer's town
Both,
fire.
I think it was Joey Logano had it after the race. 17 of Busher had it during the race. Here's another car with a little bit of a random fire. They made some updates to the exhaust pipe shrouding this week to try to prevent
Oh look,
this. I don't know if it's the
classic
same issue or
moment
not,
from
but
Indy
Chris
Road Course,
Buescher,
like where
it was
Busher
this
caught on
contact
fire a
right
little bit.
here that kinda
Oh, so that's
knocked
what
the
caught.
exhaust
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that contact before when Chastain's spun. And then look at me. Look on pit road. Look at that. You see that? Holy shit, on fire.
Hamlin's really cocky.
And
he is cocky.
Why, the Briscoe?
Frustrating that
He's cocky overall.
car will have to pit a second
I don't
time to
think
put a
he
fire
is,
out.
obviously.
Now,
So I can handle your.
their own car or something that they're
What?
doing. Well,
That's
that's a different story.
Listen,
But if
Preston's
this is
gonna be
just
mad at what
unlucky
you said.
piece of rubber ending up in a spot on the car that catches on fire, something might have to be changed in the car design, maybe some shrouding or some screening. I'm sure NASCAR will look at it. Parker.
And Steve, that's exactly what the team told me. They believe it was that rubber buildup in there
somehow getting caught near the exhaust.
So there are some vents in that
Preston,
rocker
you're
box that
watching
the teams
this.
are
I can
allowed to put
respect
screen
your
over.
opinion of
The screen can only be a
No,
certain
I don't think you have to.
That's actually what Petty
But
GMS got in trouble for by Pocono.
why do you like
So I don't know if
him?
the 14
Because
has
I'm
opted to
really-
run that
because I
screen. I
don't
don't know
know
what their screen
anyone that
looks
Penny
like.
likes
but
him, okay?
all of those things will have to be looked at.
He
this
used to be a
week.
Cowboys
You'd hate to
fan.
think that this is something that's going to continue into the playoffs.
32 points separating Blaney and Truex for that final spot in the playoffs. Again, 7 drivers are locked in based on number of wins and regular season points. There will be some more that will lock themselves in after this race with only 2 races remaining until the playoffs get underway. Again, Watkins Glen next week, where we'll call that one radio style, and Daytona, the season-ending race.
And I think the important thing for today, I mean, I know Blaney's ahead of Truex in the race, but the stage points. In both stages, Blaney's got 11 points to Truex is only getting 1 today, so got a battle for the lead as well.
Harvick has closed the gap. It's about 0.2 of a second between Logano and Harvick.
How many times have we seen these two guys go at it? They are both experts at trying to take each other's line away, trying to make it as difficult as possible to get around. We know that Logano's kind of like the new Ryan Newman of the NASCAR series, making that car as wide as possible late in the race. And here we are again. Lucky to see these two guys go at it.
And Harvick shifting, continuing to shift.
So Harvick's just simply looking, trying to understand where it is that he has an advantage, and it's right there. It's entering 3 in the middle of 3. He can find a way to carry that speed, enter to it, and get close to him, maintain in 1 and 2. He can roll off a 2 right here and be close to him. You see Logano starting to drive away. Now he's not close enough to him. Even though he's better right here, he's going to have to get closer.
The other variable that's in the picture now, 2 seconds back, Chris Buescher. What if Chris Buescher wins his way into the playoffs?
And this won't be the first time this year we've said that. Chris has had a couple of great runs, awesome finish out in Sonoma. So there's been scenarios where we've wondered what a Chris Buescher win might do to the playoffs, and here we are. I think as these two guys work hard, the front 2, try to work really hard to get around each other, that will be to the detriment of their car on the long run. That might bring Buescher right into this battle.
And I didn't have Richmond circled, but I do believe that 17. Yeah. He was on my list of Watkins Glen. You mentioned Sonoma, another road course. And congratulations to RFK in that 17 car that you could put that on the, wouldn't shock you if he did go to victory lane. Dave.
Steve, Scott Graves, the crew chief, told me this morning, we came here just wrong for practice yesterday. We were awful, and we took the 20 minutes we had, and we made the most of it, made major changes, did a little better in qualifying, and then adjusted what we could for the race. What a turnaround for this group, running 3rd just behind this lead battle, Marty.
Well, what a month of August for Kevin Harvick, the win at Michigan, sitting here in 2nd with 77 to go here at Richmond. So, Steve, the 4 team pitted with 104 to go in this race, 105 to go. Actually, they do have an extra set of tires because they didn't pit earlier on like those Gibbs cars. So I'm wondering, though, for the Gibbs cars, they're going to be able to run a little bit longer like Denny Hamlin right there, take on their last set of tires. Will that fresher rubber maybe help those Gibbs cars? The strategy kind of coming together with 76 to go.
Yeah, well, that's what the 11 of Denny Hamlin is trying to use a little bit fresher tires. Marty mentioned he came 9 laps after the other cars, 9 laps after Chase Elliott. So Hamlin has closed that gap down now to about 5 seconds. The problem is traffic. I mean, he has fresher tires, but where's he got to go, right? The 9's in front of him. They're lapping the 38. So I understand the math is telling them when to pit, but it's hard for him to use those fresher tires to an advantage. As we see on the top, though, the 4 is hounding the 22.
And the 2-second gap to Buescher is now 1.2. He's ran some pretty good laps here the last couple of times by. And that 17 car continues to close.
You see Harvick just keeps trying to make that outside work. Enters low here and then washes up the racetrack. Keep waiting for him to enter 3 a little bit higher. See what that'll get him.
Two car lengths separate the top 2, and then you see Denny Hamlin working on the high side to get by Chase Elliott, so he takes that spot away, and up to 4th goes Denny Hamlin. A little bit different strategy, not completely different, but he stayed out just a little bit later than the rest of the field.
And if you look ahead of the 11, this is where the 11 has to make some hay. I mean, look at that, clear track. You got to go. If you got fresh tires, no traffic, you got to get past this 9 right here, get back into your rhythm, and get back to making time up on the leaders. The problem he has is the 47, who has even fresher tires, is now to his outside. So, you know, once again, the track.
Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell just happened.
That's why they're so hard to predict.
It kind of salty me a little bit, but yeah, I still
where
hate
you're
him.
going to get stuck in traffic.
Stenhouse Jr. is 3 laps down to race leader Joey Logano. So even though he was able to get by Hamlin there, he's still multiple laps down to the leaders, which right now there are only 15
Why did you say
on the lead lap. Keselowski running in that 15th spot in the final car on the lead lap.
See if we can watch this 22 car as we ride on the nose of Harvick's car. See what this 22 does down in the corner.
It's worth the last run. I'm just tighter to center. It's the same everything else.
That's 22 Logano talking on the radio there. Harvick almost to the outside. And Corey LaJoie is in front of
what is this
22 Logano. The closer that Logano gets to LaJoie, the worse his car is going to drive. Harvick can run right here. Can he get there? Not quite.
Oh god, we got a bell over here.
To the outside he goes.
Oh, come on, Harvick. Distract Logano.
Clears him though in the middle
What?
of the corner. Harvick has another run off of tire 2 down the back straightaway. Going to go the inside. He's going to look there a little bit. This will be a tough pass for him on the inside. He knows that. He'd rather try to get to the outside of the 22.
Yeah, he entered 1. He had a shot to go the inside. Didn't even try it. Now he's going to push it. You know, last time through there, he didn't even try this. But now, as Logano's up the track, he's going to get pinched off by Logano. Just can't put the throttle down. Logano with an advantage down the back.
He's changing where Logano has to run, though, by putting the pressure on him. While they're doing that, Chris Buescher closes the gap even more.
Logano is more than happy to let Kevin Harvick sit on that inside and work his tires. Now he's back to the bottom of the racetrack. Harvick to the top. Here he comes, the 4 car on the outside. He's there.
Big run by Harvick. Down the backstretch. Can he clear the 22?
That's the spot he wanted the entire time. Now he's going to pinch Logano off.
Yeah, I just need to get one more thing.
Oh, look at the 47. He's got new
the
tires.
Harvick takes the lead.
He's going to get into it, but not a factor.
Yep.
And Harvick's out front. The crowd on their feet roaring as they see Happy Harvick.
Oh yeah,
at Richmond.
I'm cheering for Harvick.
Harvick, new leader, looking to go back to back.
When we started Carvana, they told us that selling cars 100% online wouldn't work.
345 out of 400.
Building an experience that lets you shop over 17,000
You don't
cars
know?
from home.
I forgot.
Logano.
Okay, yeah. Network to deliver your car as soon as
Logano.
Recruiting
Ooh,
an
Castle.
army of customer advocates to
Tells
make
me
your
a little
experience
content.
incredible and putting you in control of the whole thing with powerful technology. That's why we've become the nation's fastest growing retailer, because our customers love it. See for yourself at Carvana.com.
Order for a Sonic Churro Shake.
I got the ice cream.
Sprinkling the cinnamon sugar and adding a churro on top.
Ready with the Sonic Churro Shake.
In the future, everything will be powered by renewable energy. But it's not as easy as flipping a switch. It's a long road, requiring decades of time and trillions of dollars. But what if there was a better direction on the path to zero carbon emissions? An energy source that's available right now, that's affordable, plentiful, and environmentally friendly. There is, and it's propane. Get the facts at propane.com/now.
Dad, which one's your favorite?
I'm gonna go with Josh.
Yes. I'm sorry, what? I was talking about the types of chicken.
Come on, you know I love all my chickens. He is a really sweet kid, though.
Did you just fist bump?
Here's to those with homework this summer, group projects, and workshops. Here's to those with morning meetings, networking events, and Zoom sessions. Here's to those with summer jobs and the truck that goes to work with them. Ram, built to serve.
Every dollar counts these days, so take advantage of this great offer from Ram Trucks.
we're back at Richmond.
61 laps to go in the race, and Harvick has worked his way up front. We saw the 17 of Buescher. Now he's coming a little bit early to pit road, maybe changing the strategy here, Dave.
And Ricky had to duck out of a lot of traffic back there just to make that happen. They wanted him to come. At that point, he was like 3 wide on the outside, nowhere to go. He had to woe this Mustang down so he could get down to the bottom line and get it woed up so he could get on pit road safely and cleanly. Buescher will take on 4 and Sunoco Fuel to get to the end. Marty.
Boy, I like this move by Rodney Childers, coming a little bit early here for Kevin Harvick. Once he got to the lead, he had checked out as well. The car has been so good on long runs. And remember, Parker, they still have another set of fresh Goodyear tires should there be a caution later.
Correct, Marty. An immediate reaction by Paul Wolf on this 22 car there. As you saw, Joey Logano struggling towards the end of this run. LTL, meaning loose on entry, tight in the center, and loose off the corner. You saw it live that he lost the lead there to Kevin Harvick, just struggling at handling. Also on pit road, the 9 of Chase Elliott, who sort of stalled out around the 8th position, struggling with getting a feel in the front of that car right now.
4 cars coming onto pit road, including the 18 of Kyle Busch, Parker.
Right, he's on pit road here as we see these green flag stops. It's been up and down day since that spin we saw from Kyle Busch. He just has not been able to get the handle, especially late in the run on this 18 car. At times it's been too loose and hard to get the throttle down. Other times it just doesn't have the front turning ability that he wants here as he's been running the top 10.
4 cars making their way to pit road. While they're doing that, that puts Denny Hamlin out in front. Dave.
That'll be Ross Chastain, the next one to make the move here. Can this Chevrolet make something out of a day that has gone the wrong direction? He'll take on 4 to the end here. He's got stickers left to do it. And with 56 laps to go, he'll get the most of the good out of it that he can, Parker.
Bubba Wallace also on pit road here, just struggling that drive-off later of the run as he pulls away with 4 Goodyear tires.
So the interesting conversation now is we see Kevin Harvick easily go by Denny Hamlin with the newer tires for Harvick. You know, Hamlin, math would say he needs to pit about lap 352. That's about 8 more laps. But Dave was letting us know that would be the last set of Goodyear tires for Hamlin. You get a late yellow, you don't have tires to put on. You have no choice. So while they may not love the idea, they could consider, Gabe Hart could say, you know what, we're going to just continue to run.
Well, 6 away, Steve.
So they are going to put it, and that's their last set, right, Dave?
That is correct.
So now the problem the 11 has is this is their strategy. That's great. But then if the caution comes out, other leaders have a set of tires. It's going to be a real bad deal for the 11 unless he has a set of scuffs down there from earlier in the race or from qualifying.
And one thing in all this sequence right here, you see Chris Buescher going around Denny Hamlin with fresher tires, but he also got around Joey Logano. So in that sequence, 17, look at the gap that he's created on the 22.
Unlapped himself. As you mentioned, the drivers that have been to pit road already, Harvick, Buescher, they have both unlapped themselves. Logano would be the next one to be able to unlap himself as we see Larson now on pit road.
Larson was really slow down the back straightaway.
Dave.
Gives up 5th position to come down pit road now. This car went so loose. He was having such a hard time controlling it. So they'll try to make an adjustment here to make it better for Kyle to get to the end. Again, on the pole to start the day. Hasn't gone the way that they planned it.
See how their stop goes. And Marty, Blaney's out there.
Yep, 52 to go, Rick. Final set of sticker tires for Ryan Blaney, and he has not had a lot of answers for Jonathan Hassler and that team as to what's happened with the handling of this race car and a drastic weather change here at Richmond as well. That might play a part in it. Martin Truex Jr. coming to pit road, final set of sticker tires for him as well. And I think on a day where they thought they would contend for the win, the handling has gotten better for the 19, but that brake shake has been an issue all day long. Truex saying that makes the car go tight so early in the run. 50 to go. Truex with the final set of Goodyears.
Still staying out is Hamlin and Bell. They last were on pit road at lap 304.
And while all this is happening, Christopher Buescher is running down the 4 car. So Chris Buescher has got a shot trying to catch this 4 car. That will cycle these 2 guys into 1st and 2nd position once Hamlin and Christopher Bell come to pit road.
Yeah, the 2 separated right now by 1 second.
It was 2 seconds, and Chris just getting through traffic a little bit better.
This time, you'll be outside.
Cole Custer's back on pit road. Now the 11 of Denny Hamlin giving up the lead. And on pit road, the 20 of Christopher Bell also has come to pit road. Parker.
Right, as we see these Joe Gibbs racing cars finally hit pit road here, led by Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin. 4 tires for Christopher Bell, and this is not his last set of stickers. He will still have another set of stickers after this, Dave.
Hamlin's car was too tight on that run. We'll see where he cycles in and what he can do with 11-lap pressure tires. That was a little slow right there. That won't help.
Yeah, absolutely. Great heads up by the driver and by the tire carrier to signal to Denny to not leave. And was very easily left with looked like the left front wheel nut off.
Well, it looked like the jackman dropped it on the left rear getting put on, but he wasn't looking forward.
They don't. These guys, the timing is so quick on this single lug nut, they do not look front and rear like they used to. Once the tire they're supposed to key off from, which is normally the rear, when it's on, the jack drops. Luckily, Denny probably could see that we had an issue on the front, so let's see as we come around. You're going to see the left rear happens at speed. Jackman, see, look, the Jackman doesn't even look forward. Great heads up by the tire carrier and by the driver, perhaps even the crew chief on the radio, to not leave without that tire on the car.
It
But
looks like
that timing definitely hurt.
The jackman reached back with his left hand and must have twisted that
Perfect.
handle.
No, that's the job.
Okay.
He's only looking at the rear. When the rear is on, he drops the jack. We don't look back to the front if you want fast pit stops. Luckily, Denny Hamlin paying attention. But it's crazy, right, Rick?
Yeah.
It seems like a huge risk. But if you want to have competitive pit stops with single lug nut, you do not have time to look back, look forward, make sure everyone's done. It's a very uncomfortable timing situation.
Harvick's back out in front again. He won at Michigan a week ago for his 59th win, looking for win number 60 here in Richmond.
Another NASCAR nonstop commercial.
Verizon Frontline is built for those we all rely on. Built to prioritize first responders. Built for extreme conditions. Built for America's most reliable 5G network. Because when seconds count and lives are on the line, the people we rely on need technology they can rely on. Verizon is the #1 network choice in public safety. Verizon Frontline, the advanced network and technology for first responders.
At USAA, we've been called too exclusive because we were created for officers. But as we've evolved with the military, we've grown to serve all who've honorably served, no matter their rank or when they were in. A Marine just out of boot camp, or a petty officer from 73, and even his kids and their kids. USAA is made for all who honorably served and their eligible family members. Are we still exclusive? Absolutely. And that's exactly why you should join.
We lost part of our forest to fire several years ago. We decided to stay and help it recover. People who have heavy machinery have the opportunity to reach out and help their neighbors for the common good.
Is Dad posting a farewell to his favorite college freshman? Nope. He's switching his choice cashback category to gas. The road to college can be emotional, but also rewarding.
With the Bank of America customized cash rewards card, you just can't stop getting rewarded.
Come on, Brian. Let's do it.
Dad, look!
Brian, come on!
I'm Courtney.
I'm Brian.
Ready, Brian? Summer won't last forever, but you can go out and make memories that will during Toyota's National Sales Event.
Toyota. Let's go places.
Things heating up front. You're watching NASCAR Cup Series racing presented by Toyota. Chris Buescher putting the pressure on Kevin Harvick now as he runs just within 0.3 of a second of race leader Harvick. And now so much traffic
39 to
that
go.
they gotta deal with.
And that's been an advantage for Chris so far. And Harvick, Harvick's had a little trouble getting through the traffic, but Chris was able to make that work for him, but not able to take the lead. That was so frustrating watching him getting hung up on lap traffic there.
Fresher tires for the 5 of Larson, not on the same lap right now. So Larson's trying to unlap himself. That's why you're seeing the 5 close the gap on the 17. Now, no cars between the 4 and the 17.
Harvick is so disciplined. He's not going to make any mistakes. Watching him run the bottom of this racetrack to perfection, putting that left front tire right on the white line, right on the yellow line. little bit of grip on that little yellow paint there. Keep the car turning, keep it rotating, keep the right front tire happy.
And how about if Buescher ends up winning this race? That would be 16 different winners with 2 races still to go before the playoffs start.
Yeah, that makes a whole new group of drivers uncomfortable with their situation. So that's his goal, right? The 17th pathway in is a win, right? He doesn't have enough points to think he's going to get into the playoffs any other way. So it's a win or bust for the 17.
See a lot of speed out of the 9 of Chase Elliott, another one of those drivers.
Yeah, he's battling with Logano now.
Yeah.
Logano, who had this race under control, kind of slipping back through the pack here.
Drivers fighting for position. Elliott getting that 3rd spot away from Logano. 35 laps to go. Logano trying to battle back on the outside.
And Buescher, you see Buescher up the racetrack. It's really important right here for Chris Buescher not to panic. It's very difficult to do. But in trying to chase Harvick down, if you start spinning the rear tires, if you start overdriving the entry, then you're not going to have a shot because it's going to eat the tires up big time. So a lot of discipline right now is going to be required, Dave.
Well, and I think to that point, they've told him all day, your best is your exit of the corner. And that takes some discipline to wait and then wait for the exit to work. But think how Chris Buescher's weekend started. They failed technical inspection 2 times. NASCAR says when that happens, you have to elect a crew member to be ejected. Travis Peterson, the engineer, was sent home. And so with that in mind, they went forward, qualified well, and are racing extremely well here. Could get the win, the 16th of the year. Different driver.
It's just like last year's Coke Series for underwear. Yeah, he saw the inspection. Yeah, but when, yeah, he finished it last.
Even for a veteran driver, a former champion, not to get back to the gas too quickly here. Richmond, you'll burn up your rear tires. Harvick has been so good on the long runs, and even for a guy like him, staying disciplined behind the wheel. It's fun to watch this battle. Buescher catching him. Can Harvick hang on?
You know, Harvick, you're probably not going to get the mistake from Harvick. Harvick's going to be, he's been here, done that over and over and over. This is his kind of race.
A lot, too, is timing. When they get up to these slower cars, the lap traffic up the racetrack, Harvick went there, and that opens the door a little bit more for the 17 of Buescher to close the gap.
Well, I'm sorry, Dale. I was going to say the issue for the 4 of Kevin Harvick is the next car in front of him, right, that 23, is the last car in the lead lap. So I don't think he's going to be as easy to pass. That's going to slow the 4 down even more.
I feel like the 17's opportunity is came and went. I mean, that little group of cars that slowed him up and made the battle pretty tight was his opportunity. I think Kevin now will be even more so on the defense for anything like that to happen again. He will not present Christopher Buescher with that chance. It's 30 laps to go here, coming to 29.
Yeah, Chris has good speed, though. He's been able to break even with Harvick. Harvick's not really driving away from him. He did for a couple laps, then they've started breaking even. Now you wonder if Harvick's managing this race out of the mirror, you know, taking care of those tires, not running any harder than he has to run. But both of those guys look really disciplined right now. You don't see either one of them sliding. You don't see rear tires spinning. 2 completely different lines. Buescher's actually been a little quicker the last few laps.
Almirola putting pressure on Hamlin now for the 6th position.
Every once in a while, Harvick will go up there and try the line that Christopher's running. A little bit up off the bottom of the racetrack. See it right there? He just goes up there. He's watching in the mirror. He's getting information from his spotter as well. And every once in a while, he goes up there and sees what's going on.
Half a second. Still the gap between race leader Harvick and Buescher.
He kind of has to now because the 23, like you said, is trying to stay on the lead lap. And the 23 is running right on the bottom of the racetrack. So Harvick's going to have to go somewhere else to try to take that position. Now the 23 is going to move up the racetrack because of the car in front of him. So all this is slowing Harvick down.
A lot of traffic right in front of race leader Kevin Harvick. 26 laps to go.
26 laps to go.
Harvick's able to really carry a lot of speed on corner entry.
Buescher really moving up the racetrack now, trying to find any kind of advantage. Going to get a good run down the back straightaway here from that top groove. Harvick into the side of the 23, a little contact almost. Bubba's going to race him hard here on corner exit.
Harvick cleared him. That's so important to make that pass, because if you get hung up underneath him, then that allows Chris Buescher to come. That's why you saw Harvick with little patience, just up the racetrack, kind of to move the 23 out of the way.
Buescher trying that higher line as he tries to work his way around Bubba Wallace now.
I love the effort that Buescher's putting into search. You know, sometimes you see drivers get a little tunnel vision to be stuck. He is anything but stuck. Now, it hasn't seemed to provide any fruit right away, but, man, he's at least up there searching.
It was a week ago, Kevin Harvick showed that you don't doubt the 14. Rodney Childers.
This is back in Michigan.
That don't ever count us out. And he snapped a 65 race winless streak and put himself right in position to win another championship as he and daughter Piper were able to grab the checkered flag and celebrate together.
Oh, those Harvick and Suarez, like those two. When I think of
two cars in between him and Christopher
Harvick and Suarez right there,
struggling right now.
I'm thinking of last year's competition fans' reactions were. Yeah, that last lap track.
Put a little bit of distance between them.
And Buescher's going to get a little pressure now from Larson, too, which is going to really irritate him.
Yeah, just kind of, that's a great point, Rick. It limits his ability to do everything he wants to do. He almost has to drive a little bit out of both ends of the race car. And if he wants to drive in high and come off low, he can't really do those things because the 5's going to try to fill that hole.
Buescher looks to the inside now of Daniel Suarez, but still struggling to get by these lap cars. And that's putting a little distance between Harvick and Buescher. Remember, 2 more opportunities after this race. Only 21 laps to go here. But Watkins Glen and Daytona. Watkins Glen will do radio style next week.
Yeah, radio style is always fun. And I like that we do it at that racetrack. It seems to really fit well at Watkins Glen. So now we've opened it up to a 1.4, 1.5 second lead to Chris Buescher. And, man, how about the 17 team? It's like just almost good enough to make the playoffs. And I'd have never seen that coming out of the Rouse camp. Coming into this year, just haven't seen pace in this whole organization. But the addition to Brad Keselowski is changing.
All right, I'm almost
quicker
about to hit 3 hours.
than I thought they would, and improve this team faster. And I know the next gen cars leveled the playing field a little bit.
I think everybody thought it would be with Brad Keselowski.
Yes.
And it's been Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher's been the one that's really been carrying this team.
I think that's a great thing because I believe in Chris, and I think that Brad now sees the value in this driver as his teammate going forward. A lot of times, you know, like a coach coming into a new team, they try to mold it, right? Bring in their own guys to help sort of be the assistants and so forth. And you wonder what Brad might want to do with this organization in terms of drivers and all the individuals that he thinks can make it better. But I like that he's wanting to stick with Chris, and you can see that paying off right now. This great run.
Yeah, Junior, the 17, a great story, obviously a wonderful run that we're seeing out of Chris Buescher. But you have to look in front of him and say, what a transformation the 4 team has made. Marty running up front after winning a week ago and now almost looking dominant here at the end of this race.
Yeah, it's not over, Rick. 16 to go. Chris Buescher still could pull this off, but yes.
Oh, 16 to go to the end of the race.
Impressive today. You know,
all right, almost about to hit 3 hours.
They have given Kevin Harvick daylight, and here he is in the
Harvick
month of
is
August,
really
maybe
going to go back
coming
to
through
back
with
again.
a second straight win. You know, when you win and you find your way into the playoffs, Rodney Childers told me this week, everybody was so loose at the shop. You kind of feel like the 4 team driving looser today, Kevin driving looser today, and man, if they could pull off back-to-back wins, that's going to change what happens over those final 10 races dramatically.
Momentum is so important in every sport, and right now it seems like the 4 team has it. 15 laps to go, coming up on 14 to go. Rodney Childers, that right there, Rodney Childers could be jumping out of an airplane right now, and he's going to have the exact same emotion on his face that he has right here with 14 laps to go before potentially back-to-back wins for this team. Dave.
And as we go further through the field, let's look back to Chris Buescher, and his one career win was a weather-delayed event. He was in the right place at the right time, but he hasn't had that race yet where he chased down the leader and took the victory. He'd like to get that here today. Parker?
Dave, and behind him is the fastest car on the racetrack for about the last 10 laps. We talk about the different strategies here. Hitting 12 laps later than your leader, Harvick, is Christopher Bell in that 20 car. He's consistent and fast and just made up from 5 seconds back to now being 3.5 seconds. I don't know if he has enough time to get to Harvick, but he's flying right now. And one of the cars he passed on his way through there was the 9 of Chase Elliott, who's recovered from a day where it seemed like they stalled out once they got to the top 10. He's admitted this is not one of the state racetracks, and he just wanted to run better here, and I'd say a top 5 is doing just that, Dave.
And behind him, Parker, Denny Hamlin has not made that same progress. Made up just a little bit of time in the last few laps, but has been so affected by traffic here. Just hasn't had the car underneath him today to go to victory lane. We'll see how it pans out here at the end, though, because remember, it came down to the final few laps in the spring race, Parker.
Right, Dave, and what could have been for Joey Logano and the 22 car leading 221 laps here today, but it has all gone away here in the final stages as cloud cover has come over the racetrack and cooled it down. The handling of that 22 car has not kept up with the racetrack and now falling back to the 6th position after leading so many laps, Marty.
What a day for Ford. Logano leading all those laps. Harvick up front right now, and Almirola. Eric Almirola from 30th to 7th. They have lost the handle, though, since the weather has changed here. Not been what he wanted. He wanted to win, needed to win. Not going to happen today. Martin Truex Jr. sitting in the 8th position. They, too, thought they would be one of the teams to beat this afternoon. That brake shake issue has bothered him all day long. Car has gotten better, but they cannot get that track position, Parker.
And his teammate Kyle Busch here in 9th position. I'm not even sure how to describe this day. From spinning out to having ill-handling cars, starting at the back, finding his way up front. He now finishes 9th, and I'd say after the day they had, that's a good day.
Ryan Blaney sits in the 10th position here with 9 to go, Parker. And overall, the sum of the day, he will gain points on Martin Truex Jr. Not happy with the handling of his race car, Rick, too much, especially here in the second half of the race. But in the big picture, what they needed on the 12 team.
8 laps to go. Bell has closed down to 2.2 seconds behind Harvick. He's got the fresher tires, definitely faster on the racetrack. He's continued to put down the fastest laps over the last 4 laps. We'll see if he can keep this up and if he can get to the back of the 4.
He's got to have a lot of help, but he got it right there. He's able to get by 3 cars in 1 corner. He needs a little bit of help. Something's going to have to hold Harvick up.
I definitely think it's realistic for him to get around the 17 of Buescher, but yeah, I don't know if he can catch Harvick.
Dude, Kevin Harvick's going to win again. He's going to win back-to-back, like
Old
Michigan.
tires, no grip.
Yeah, we've seen tires at this racetrack fall off immensely in just a few laps. He'd have to have something like that. It's pretty clean traffic in front of Harvick.
It's 2 seconds that he's back from Harvick. He's a half a second behind the 17 of Buescher. Buescher, who was pressuring the 4 early for the lead, has fallen back now. 1.6 seconds separate the top 2. There's a run by the 20 of Bell. He's already to the back bumper now of Buescher.
Oh.
Going to try to split the middle right here. Just that little bit newer tire allows him to drive the car wherever he wants to. Much more aggressive.
Ooh.
He can make this pass really quickly. Does he have a shot?
1.7 seconds separating the top 2 now as Bell has moved to second, trying to chase down Kevin Harvick. 4 laps to go here at Richmond.
I think I know who's got this one.
Get there, but it's been an impressive drive for this
Wins at
20
Michigan, and now it's going to go back-to-back at Richmond.
Well in the race, and then he started losing a lot of positions.
Oh, he needed to get by Cindric
Oh.
right there. He did not expect Cindric to get up the racetrack.
Cindric lap car, free to go.
3 laps to go.
Harvick's leading. He's about to win again.
1.6 seconds under 3 laps here.
Emil, but just joking.
Harvick's got a couple guys here side by side in front of him.
Yeah. Why don't you go tell him?
Yeah, he definitely doesn't want to give up a big chunk in this set of corners.
Harvick wins at Michigan, and he's going to win at Richmond. Emil, just watch. Unless it's a caution.
Where can he get by?
Come on,
2
Harvick.
laps to
Here
go.
we go.
No
Come on,
cars in between
Harvick.
the top 2.
Don't let a
Here
caution
comes
happen to
Bell.
you.
Second
Bam.
Christopher Bell makes up a
Come
half
on,
a
Harvick,
second
you
on
better
Kevin
run.
Harvick, with Harvick dealing with traffic.
Harvick not able to completely clear the 42.
Oh, come on, Harvick.
It slowed it down a little more. The 20 within
Oh,
striking
Bell.
distance.
1 lap to go. Last lap. Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick and Bell are fighting for it.
Kevin Harvick's gonna win again like Richmond.
Or Christopher Bell.
I mean Michigan.
Or Bell.
The closer.
Here comes Bell. Look, here goes Bell. This is final lap.
Oh, Bell's close.
No, not enough time. Harvick's got it.
I called it.
Kevin
Harvick wins again since Michigan.
Yeah, he wins 2 in a row now.
Busher.
Hamlin.
Dude, Busher got a good finish for once.
Guys, guess what? Harvick's in the playoffs, guaranteed now with 2 back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
That's why I call back-to-back. Wait, no, not yet, Baba. Oh, the Michigan got a top 10. Okay. That's his 60th career win. Second straight win. Yeah, no, Michigan. Second straight win.
Kevin Harvick won here the last
Come on, I feel like how last year my race reaction Michigan, Blaney won, and he won Daytona.
Ronnie Childers say, hey, thanks for getting us a win here. Well, that's Ronnie Childers and the team getting a win. Harvick now his 4th time that he has won here at Richmond.
All right, GG Harvick. See how Watkins Glen race is gonna go.
There's a lot of very
This,
dangerous
so
drivers.
fortunately, I won't do race reactions. I'll do that at Daytona. So yeah, can't wait to see you all at Daytona.
I would say this would be one of the more unexpected things that we're going to see in 2022 after Harvick had such an incredible drought that was broken last week.
All right, Harvick, burn it down. Come on.
Back to back.
Come on.
29th win for Kevin Harvick after turning 40 years old. This checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts.
There you go, Harvick. That's what I like to see. Oh, and McGrath.
"60 wins, he's getting pretty darn good at those burnouts. As the smoke clears, Kevin Harvick at 46 years old will climb out as a 60-time winner in the Cup Series. Marty.
GG Harvick. Woo!
What a day. Rodney Childers wasn't good last week when he told me I feel better in Richmond than I do Michigan. Last week he celebrated with his daughter Piper. Today he gets to celebrate with his crew here in front of the Richmond fans at the start-finish line.
Alright guys, that's gonna be it for it today. So yeah, unfortunately I won't do the race reactions at Big Glen because we're going to Big Glen. So I'll see you at Daytona National Super Speedway on August 27th. So yeah, I'll see you all there. So bye bye for now.